probably saw it in Discord. Yeah, the 15th. The 15th is a definite Saturday. January 15th.
You mean? Oh yes, yeah. I just saw that like a minute ago. Yep.
Eric Boyd told me on Facebook Messenger he's good with it.
Okay, good.
So, yeah, it's exciting.
And Greenwood stuff.
Yes, 2 drink minimum.
Here too. Yep.
Back in the saddle. What's going on, man? Yeah, hopefully you can hear me.
Yep, I just logged in. Got to Twitch, so I heard
ding, 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 ding.
Yep. Oh, I silenced it and killed off the video. So, yep.
Cool to hear, man. And Greyhawk in any edition is a good thing.
Yeah, I talked to my players today about editions, and it seems like it will be level up 5e. That's what they want to do.
Oh, they want to stay there. They don't want to go see.
Oh yeah, they want to stay there. They're new schoolers. They want to stay there. And to be honest, there are some benefits for me because I need to run 5e anyway at times and stuff. So I guess, damn, I guess that will be it. And, yeah.
What's up, Highmore? What's up, Bones? I scared little Bones last night when I vampire touched her. Sucked all that life out of Devin. So that was fun. But I still got my butt kicked. I mean, my dice were poor Devin. Yeah, but she was fine. I saw Darling on Instagram commenting about Rosie surviving there, so that was a good thing too. Yes, that's true. You did get the killing blow, man. I forgot about that. That's awesome. Yep, you did. Awesome. Whew. I was running around like crazy a little today, getting prepped up for the holidays and stuff, and I had all this, and then Tim contacts me with, did you ever consider this? Ever consider that? I'm like, oh my God, no, not talk about it on the show. So 2000 Caesar, you have a distinction that I saw in my, because they send these stats now. 2000 Caesar is the #1 time viewer of all viewers on the Lord Gazumba channel for 2021. He had the most hours watched. So, yep. It doesn't give you a top 5, it just told you who the top was, and that was 2000 Caesar. Pretty cool. Also showing that the animated emotes. Yeah, there you go. That's probably because you log in right at the beginning. The reason why you're right on right as we start almost every time. So, yep. We may get a little into theoretical tonight. I'm not sure where the discussion will go, but we'll have fun with it. Or whichever direction this one goes tonight. Get some background, get some... Yeah. Yeah, that got too much, Mama. That stinks, but so my buddy Bill always has trouble, and he's got a pretty powerful machine. I think it's his monitor and his video card. He lowered settings to 720p, and that kind of stopped any issues he had with.
Yeah, I also turned off auto, so I chose to stay on one resolution. So
that's a good idea.
Source, yeah, instead of having auto, because when all of a sudden when the bandwidth went up and down, the browser tried to switch, and that's when I got issues.
So
I turned off the auto and set it to a resolution and kept it there.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Hey, Ark Shadow Angel, thanks for the follow yesterday. Appreciate it. Tonight we're gonna Gabbin. We're going to talk some theater. Well, we're going to talk about my Elementalists, and then discuss how you make your own custom spellcasters. I think it'll be edition free. I'll show you how I do it in mine, but edition free, because I think there's some room in almost any edition or any game system to do it. I know Paul Molku's done a bunch for his own game. A couple other people out there have done it as well. Tim's done it. So, got some good options. Plus, we'll have, as usual, we'll have a couple of cool giveaways there. So, yeah, we had some nice ones last night. I gotta get all these addresses to Frog God tomorrow, so that'll take a while, but I'll get to that. Oh, cool. Creativity's a good thing, man. So, you know, my rules are, I use 1E2E old school, but it's really, it's evolved. It's, like I say, it doesn't look like a 1E2E game for the most part, but it is the basis, but, you know, a lot of changes. Right, Anna? Tons of changes.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You've done a lot of changes, and you kept some of the old school idiosyncrasies.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm an old guy and I can't be taught new tricks, I guess. No, I don't know.
I'm older than you, and I can occasionally be taught. I try to teach myself new tricks, but it's hard. Yeah.
Okay. Two more. That way we gave out 2 more Starship Wardens from Troller Games on Friday night with those 32 giveaways we did. Crazy. 650 pages of goodness there. There he is. Yeah. Tell Michael. I'll get your dice out tomorrow. You and Bones and Signal 151 all won dice last night on the game, so I got getting them right out tomorrow. The Troll Lord and the Frog God stuff, I'm coordinating that. Yeah, I'd rather get them out than get it piled up. Trust me. So I don't have a Warlock, but I have a Witch. I'm trying to get Tim Brannon on for the Rich. Yep, it's a long shot. I don't have that 5e Warlock, but I have a good Witch. We can always discuss that a little bit. That book's downstairs, though. Because, you know, I can't carry the entire library up here all the time. I did hit some sponsor shout-outs here. I should have. If you want an expedition to the Barrier Peaks field, then the Starship Warden's for you. And it's written by Jim Ward. How can you go wrong with Jim Ward writing it? Cool. I'll throw the classes up. It's a good question, Mymorph. I'm going to throw. That's one of the first things I'm going to put up on the screen. All the entire class lists, and that'll be a good start point. So look at that, and we got a couple minutes still. But here we go. Well, I don't even know like what a Warlock is supposed to be. I thought a Warlock was a male witch, and I got the witch already. So I mean, we use a hybrid from the Dragon magazine and Tim Brannon's witch that he created for first edition.
Warlock in when I ran 3.5 Pathfinder, that was the meaning. It's clerics are have gods or deities they get their spells from, so to speak, but they don't do it on an individual basis. They're part of a religion and faith and an organization, so to speak. I had warlocks as being ones who they were like clerics, but they had an individual contract and contact with their lord and everything. They could be meaning like a demon lord, it could be a really powerful dragon, anything that was powerful enough to give magic powers to someone. and it was like on an individual basis.
Oh, okay.
And,
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
they get different types of magic depending on what type of creature or being that gave them the power, so to speak. It could be a Fey Lord, it could be a demon, devil, a dragon, really powerful one.
Oh, that's interesting.
And also if like some being like even a god might want to have a few clerics on the side that they're not part of the church organization, that they can have secret pact with, so to speak. So you sign a contract with them and get it. That was because I had like they were anyone could be what was the term I used? They could be a representative of the deity, so to speak, and powerful beings can send their powers to other beings. And you became, and that ranged from paladins, druid, anyone who casts divine magic of some sort, and some others that they are divine agent. That was the term I used. And then there are certain rules for how that works. If you go to another plane, and you might not be able to contact your deity, spells, etc., stuff like that. So then I had some ground rules for how the universe worked for that, so to speak. And clerics and so on, they transferred to all their clerics get basically the same type of spells, divine spells, depending on. So they kind of had a cookie cutter, so they could add many clerics. But warlocks were and witches and stuff, they were single entities that way. And meaning they couldn't have that many, and they could have weird magic, and they could get even all sorts of arcane spells as divine spells if they're whatever their patron, so to speak, would give them that. So they had lots of, and some other powers.
And you did this in 3.5. This is a 3.5.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, 3.5 and Pathfinder 1. So I had rules for it, but it was mostly NPCs. There were very few PCs. There were a few PCs because most of them are kind of one-offs, so to speak, and they don't need to be humans. I had a lot of them. The powerful night hag might have several other hags that would be with warlocks or witches or something.
That's interesting. I never see. And Lando says there was a different. There was a difference, and I didn't know. But we always thought, witch, warlock, same thing. One's male, one's female.
Well, for me, yeah, I put up general rules and said that they're divine agents. So I had like clerics are meaning. They are more standardized because the church have teachings and that kind of puts them in the same fold because they're part of an organization. Druids, a little bit less so, but still part of it. And then you can have, I think
it's an interesting concept.
Yeah. So I had Elven ones were something we used in a campaign, meaning the Elven High Lords and fake creatures and stuff had Elven divine agents, so to speak, that worked a bit different from. So they're basically individual specialty priests. Instead of following a generic class, they're kind of depending on what being is giving you the power, so to speak.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, Volmoku says he's trying to follow what Will did with his 5e, all his 5e warlocks, which is cool.
Will had it's that kind of same idea. It's just it worked a little bit different in 3.5 Pathfinder. So I basically set up the idea: what kind of magical powers can the being have, and then what kind of magic powers does it transfer to its divine agent.
It's a cool discussion, and I'm always amenable to looking at new things. I mean, we have so many freaking classes as it is, right? In old school.
So it was one that I had guidelines, and then I cranked out depending on if it was an NPC or occasionally it was a PC a few times too. And then I cranked out. I had for like old faith druids, like dark druids, for instance, they were kind of borderline that way. So it was just generic guidelines for setting up specialty priests.
Right.
That was basically what it was.
The beginning point in the specialty druid too. I mean, they could be considered priests.
I see exactly. I see druid is just a specialty priest, in my opinion.
See, in my game, it's a separate class, but it has its own specialty druids. Which,
class is, I just see that as a game mechanic,
right,
so to speak. And
true.
meaning if you, the old faith, then their specialty priests are druids. and then I made another type of specialty priest depending on what religion, what faith, or what creature, so to speak.
So it sounds like I really need to get Timothy Brannon on. So
Yeah.
I will work on that. I need to get him on and have that discussion. And I promise that I'll make every effort so that we have that. And
Yeah. And
I don't even, Jason, I don't even know what that means. Oh, single druid leader out of all of them? I don't, you know. By the way, I'm J.K. Lorcas. I'm like an animator with
sorry,
me.
we got
And
the
ever mysterious Tim will be coming sooner or later. The single druid leader, it's just like the monks, and just like the grandfather of assassins. I leave it amorphous, and the answer is yes and no. Right, so okay, if it comes up in the course of gameplay, that is going to be, a Grand Druid or the Grandfather of Assassins shows up like Turin Deathstalker is at one point.
Yeah.
I leave it alone at that, but there may be another one out there somewhere else. Does that make sense, Jason? I don't, because it's not affecting gameplay. If it affects gameplay, then I'll make a decision on it.
Yeah.
So it's a good question.
And I think this is one of the basic things for this discussion is what role do you want mechanics, and in this case class mechanics, to play? For some people it's very much a mainstay in your campaign. Things have classes and they belong to it, and that's something, a core feature in your gameplay, so to speak. And old school is very much that way usually. And you kept that. But to me it's a game mechanic. It's not something that exists in the world, meaning a character would not look at some other thing and say, oh, that's a fighter, or that's a barbarian, or that's a warlock or witch or something. It's so it's more like something to hang up game mechanics. In game I would not see. So game mechanics is something that lives on character sheets and stuff, not something I talk about in game when I try to tell the characters what the characters experience. So therefore you can have witches and warlocks and all sorts of that. That could be terms that be cultural. In one Baclunish lands they're called so and so, and in Old Flan culture they are called so and so, and maybe Old Flan use witches, and then the Oridians and others, Grey Kingdom, say, oh, that's all for Old Flan or barbarian, whatever. We have real clerics or priests or something. We don't have all witches and warlocks and stuff that way.
It's an interesting topic that we will tackle. I promise in the future on getting to warlocks and witches and things like that. But Timothy Brannon is the his publications are like the canon out there for him. I'm setting up the giveaways. Everyone who's welcome, Raiders, welcome, Tom Ward's wife. I hope you had a great. I was lurking. I've been running around like a nut today. So it seemed like you had a great discussion over on your channel, which is wonderful. I just set up the giveaway. We got some classic D&D reprints, but I got some good ones tonight. This is my fifth stream in 5 straight nights, by the way, too. So I'm on fumes here. All right, so this is a great. If you want a great 2E reprint, I've never given this one out either, and that is we got the Sages and Specialists.
Oh yes,
2E blue, blue covered reprint tonight. At least that, and then
that's one of the weird books that was late because it got a different logo and different fonts and stuff on it.
And the Treasures of Greyhawk as well. At least. So thank you everyone for coming in. For tonight, and enjoy the conversation. Please participate. This is a lot of theoretical. I'm going to go over my Elementalist class history, and then we'll talk about. We already are in the theoretical already, which is cool. So the discussion Anna and I are having right now is Anna's players are more, my guys need structure for classes, so I have to have spell lists. I have to have descriptions of what the class does. I can't be amorphous about it. So when I create something, no matter what it is, I back convert it to a 1E rule set. So even if it's a 2E class, it goes back to 1E.
You take in ideas from later editions and then put them into your rule set, so to speak.
So this is the book, the Elementalist book. There's 6 different ones in the class. You go, how there's only 4 elements? All right, well, okay. So there's a lot. Clark Necromancer's awesome. Like Deximus understood there, Alex.
Yeah. So meaning you done Necromancers and then you done Elementalist. Have you covered the other spell schools with Specialists that way too?
Well, I don't. By the way, welcome everyone who came in from Tom Lord's Life. I really appreciate it, and Kayla's great
Yeah.
on our channel. I wish hopefully that new game system goes really well. I hope so. That would be fantastic. So I hate 2E. All right, let's just start at the beginning. All right,
Yeah.
start somewhere here. We're not starting at the very beginning, but whoops, that's wrong. Look, there's the drink. I put the drinking. I almost did the drinking video.
Okay, let's start with the beginning.
Mitch, we had one of the characters in the Horror and Holes is the Clark Necromancer. So Dex the Misunderstood. He's right in there, and he's got some abilities. So let me put up the classes. So this is updated. This is the races and classes, and not everyone goes, well, someone said to me, why can't you have a half-orc ranger the other night, right? And I forget where it was. It was either in chat or Discord. And I said, well, because I think it was Discord. I was like, because we play old school rules where we don't really, we do some, but it has to make sense for our campaign. So
Yeah.
this is a list of all 40 some of my classes, and some of these have subclasses as well.
But I think you have a real valid point, because I do that for my games too. It needs to be valid for the campaign. So when it comes to
exactly.
what classes and races and stuff that the players can pick, that will be especially the races or ancestries, whatever you call it, what you rules you're using, but that will be even more limited. Like my Shieldlands campaign, all the players are humans, because that's
and it makes sense for you.
Yeah,
you know. So for example,
and then I might run an Elven campaign or a Dwarven or a mixed everything campaign. So yeah.
For example, you have the Halfling Guardian. Well, it was written up as a Halfling only class, and it's Shield Thane, the Dwarven Defender kind of class, and mine is a Dwarf only. But when you get down, we're going to be concentrating here, and that is from Magic User Avengers a Druid subclass, but there you go.
Yeah, but you have a lot of cools. You have
Magic User down. And we talked about Necromancer a couple weeks ago. So we go from Magic User, Wild Mage, which is in this book as well, but that's a whole. We'll save that. Elementalist is where we're going to concentrate. Shadow Mage, you saw one last night. The Mandy's playing a Shadow Mage Bounty Hunter class last night, and then Illusionist. Which is the original subclass, and Incantatrix, according to Ed Greenwood, who created that class.
Incantatrix,
yes. And then Witch, which is its own separate. And by the way, these tildes mean, and if you're gonna start a new character up and you're gonna play them, you need to get approval for me to do it, because they're still like in a playtest stage even after all these years. Or I want to know why you want to play that class. So we have a lot of those, and then we have the Sentinels NPC only. Bard, you can't get it at first, because of the way Bards are done in first edition. But let's concentrate here on the Spellcasters tonight. And like I said, please feel free to ask questions. Stormpower asked a question I want to answer right off the bat, and that is, can mages wear armor? Well, sure. They can wear armor. They just can't cast spell in armor. Now, if we're talking old school rules, that's the case. And I think third edition had spell failure percentages based on armor, didn't it?
From the beginning. How I did it was that especially in Pathfinder, I added feats for it. So as a wizard could, instead of being better at spell casting, the character could instead pick to be better at casting. First, they had to have armor proficiency. They can either multi-class or they can take a feat in that, and then they had to take a special feat to cast in first light and medium. So if you wanted to cast spells in a full plate, you could learn that, but that meant that you will sacrifice basically all your abilities to be really cool in getting spell penetration feats and all sorts of stuff. So you sacrifice some magic ability, and then you can cast in using armor instead, so to speak. So it was a trade-off. If you wanted to be the best wizard in the world, no, you could not cast in armor.
Are you ready for the bizarrities of first edition there, Mymorph?
Yeah.
Okay. Humans can't wear armor and cast spells, the Mage or the Illusionist.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what happens in 5e if they exist, but bracers of defense are like gold in my game, right? Because they give you the base. It's a magical bracer base armor class 8, armor class 4, whatever they are. Remember, I still use Thaco because I'm old and can't don't know how to change. But multi-class elves
they could
cast spells in armor.
Exactly. That was the weird thing, so to speak. So I basically have the same rules for all all races, that they were treated the same way.
Okay.
So elves weren't inherently more superior in that way. But Elven Chain had the cool thing that it was a medium armor that was light,
Right.
so to speak. It protected as chainmail, but it was a light armor, which means that's why a lot of Elven casters preferred it, because they only needed to take the feat and learn light armor and so on and so forth. But on the other hand, a lot of Elven wizards were probably multi-classed fighter or ranger or something, and that meant that they only had to take one feat, and they could cast using light armor, no problem. So they took that at first class, and then they
crossover, the bizarrities of cross. Hey, Vancouver by night, good to see you. I was hopefully everything's going well. I know you had a good stream today. So here's the weird thing. We house ruled something, and I did it. And my God, this has got to be 90. I'm going to say it's between 88 and 90. I was sick and tired of fighter collect mages, because we had so many of them back in the old days, all wearing plate mail and having these. I said, no more. I said, I don't care, elf, whatever, no more plate mail wearing. Bandit armor is the best for a fighter mage elven class. That eliminates the super heavy armors and the cavalier plate armors from you wearing that and casting spells by anyone. And that's my house rule. I guarantee everyone else house rules.
Oh, I bet everyone tried to solve it one way or the other, so to speak. And so my wizards were instead of nerfing them, they didn't advance as much. Their spells never got as powerful as the true. If you spend all your energy on learning to cast spells rather than to fight using armor and stuff, that meant that you got bonuses. It was a bit of a sacrifice. So a lot of elves and others, if you wanted to fight and use spells, no problem, you can do it. But if you wanted to be the superb spell, for instance, if you wanted to take feats to learn how to research your own spells and stuff, you had to do that instead of taking other feats.
It's and everyone does it differently, and that's what I've said this for the last 2 weeks since PAX Unplugged. No two DMs are like
exactly.
No two DMs are identical, which is really, when you think about it, pretty crazy. It's just like grains of sand, grains of sand or snowflakes falling from the sky. They're all different, and DMs are the same way.
Yeah, I guess the difference is once you start playing in organized, like Living Greyhawk in its time, Pathfinder organized play, Adventure League and stuff, then all of a sudden there is a set of official rules that you have to live within, so to speak, and your characters have to operate within those rules. And that is kind of, I think, the difference. But when it comes to playing your own house games with your buddies or play a pickup game or your own games, then you can tweak it as much as you and your players like.
So Jason, of course, throwing one of those out there. Jason, I am going to use, because of that, I'm going to use hey Wiley, I'm going to use this great emote I have, and that is the this one is should a couple times. There we go. The J perplexed emote. There it goes. Yeah, with the eyeballs popping out. Good to see you, Wiley. Thanks a lot for the host as well. So this book, second edition, comes out after the Player's Handbook comes out, and I see Player's Handbook of second edition. I'm like, my gosh, they split all these spellcasters into invokers and diviners. I'm like, I hate this. I hate it.
You don't like the spell schools that way?
I hate it. I love spheres for priests because each priest is different. I don't. Because back then everyone's taking freaking invokers. That's all they're going to take, right? So I'm thinking to myself, what do I got to do? And plus, they kind of eliminated illusionists, and I already had this necromancer class, and I have this necromancy spells in here, and it's like it's all smashed together. Now you got I just didn't like it, and then I'm thinking to myself, this book came out. I was like, thank you, something cool. So. You're right, Rob. It wasn't required, so I didn't do it. You're absolutely correct, 100%.
Grab that book here.
Yeah. So this Tome of Magic comes out, and it's not large as far as the descriptions on here in second edition, but this is where this idea starts coming from as we come here and we go. And this is 90s, of course, everyone. So magic items, blah, blah, blah. All right, first off, wild mages appear, and we'll talk about them at a future time.
It's 1991.
So it's right in that area. Of course, Wiley. Just you and I should talk about what's going to be happening in your streaming. Anna's there. Josh, Anna's around. So
Yeah.
Of course, Obsidian. You got, but there's ways, finding some PDFs here and there to
I was
buy. Yep,
grabbing this. Yep.
perfect. You got the hardback. See, my hardback got beat up so much that I went to this.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, here are the books for tonight, everyone. Just some of them. Books for tonight we're going to use reference-wise, and then my books, my own personal ones, and then I guarantee you Tim will have some other things to discuss. So let's have fun with this. Tome of Magic. Player's option book is beat to hell too because they get so much use out of them. Especially, this is the go-to book, by the way, everyone, for making specialty priests to start off. And then Tome of Magic. So you have Wild Mages in here, and we know from our meeting with Eric Boyd that Eric Boyd made the Wild Mage. So kudos to Eric. I'm sorry, that's wrong. Kudos to Zeb Cook. It was Zeb Cook.
Yeah.
Zeb Cook made it. Now here's the Wild Mages, and these need a whole discussion on their own.
That's an interesting speciality in itself, kind of.
Yeah, the Wild Mage is really, really a cool thing. It's very Forgotten Realms-ish, but I love it fitting in Greyhawk.
I don't have any specific published vibes of Wild Mage. It might be around, but there's not described as a speciality of the setting.
That's good to hear, Wiley, that Greyhawk's coming. Yep. Right here, the Tome of Magic. So, Elementalist Wizards is a new variety of Specialist Mage. Now, immediately I was drawn to this, and I'm thinking to myself, first off, this is cool. Secondly, for every class I have its own spell list: priest, druid, specialty druid, shadow mage, whatever. Can I get enough elementalist spells for each 4 spheres? That's my number one concern right off the bat. So, and then I read this, and this is where their no spell attempt is higher with elementalist spells, and they get a penalty for other spells out of their sphere. But then they get this extra spell per level, and I do that for first, second, and third. They're combat mages in my game. And I kind of am thinking Dragon Age 2, the combat mages in Dragon Age, and all the stuff that they can do. And I'm thinking in this era when the first Dragon Age came out, and Baldur's Gate as well. I want to make a specialty. All right. How many times do you go into a fight and you see a wizard cast a fireball, lightning bolt, and magic missiles? It's old, right?
Always.
Yes. Yeah. So this is immediately I'm like, we need variety here. And if you watch last night, they had no idea what the hell spells I was casting on. Now, of course, they all made their saves on all of them, but I had a necromancer last night, and she was nasty. They made a lot of saves, but it's great when they don't know the defenses, they don't know what to do, they're scared to death because they don't know what the spell's gonna. And that's kind of, these elementalists can be overpowered too. So you got to make sure that you balance them really nicely, and it's easy to do. So they get saves on +2 from their own sphere, and I do -2 from their opposed sphere, and we'll talk about that in a second. And here's the big one: they can cast 1 spell per day at 1 to 4 levels higher. So say they're a fire elementalist and they're 9th level and they cast a fireball, and then you roll that die 4 and you're throwing a 13 die 6 fireball instead of a 9 die 6 fireball out. You get the idea that it's really a pumped up possibility here. So, yep. So the CCG.
I think there was a 3rd edition of this.
I haven't played with Spellfire Blood Wild. I love the Wild Mage, so I'm not going to. Spellfire is purely Forgotten Realms, right? So I stick with the Wild Mage. I think fits a lot better in Greyhawk. So gambling's a good thing. They can also control elementals, and a big thing with this class is you're going to see lots of summoning spells, because I like summon monsters out on the field because we use miniatures. Now, I can understand if you are a VTT player or Theater of Mind player and people summoning stuff all over the place gets hard to. That's okay. I'm just saying that I love the capability of bringing allies onto the field, especially elementalists and lesser elementals, and I'll show you some of those, which are really cool. So I like this, but then I read on and I'm like, well, why can the fire elementalists use some air and earth spells but not water? And I'm thinking to myself, I hate that. I completely hate that. They should be all separate. And then I'm thinking to myself, oh, I know why. They don't have enough spells. I mean, there's not enough spells out there. So think about air elementalists. How many spells do you think there are? There's not many. So here's my dilemma. What do I do at this time? Well, what's everyone's solution in the late 90s, early 2000s? Rob, Von Moku, what book do you go to in the late 90s, early 2000s to get more spells? There's one place. It was on the net, right? So the Great Net Spell Book. So I start pulling out spells from the Great Net Spell Book, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a godsend. This is it. We can figure this out. Yes, the Great Net Spell Book, 100%. And Tim may bring on some other stuff tonight when he shows up. He should be on within the first hour. So I say to myself, now it's time for me to figure out how to make this better than what's in here, and I come up with this idea. So let me show you what the Elementalist class looks like. All right, here's the Elementalist. All right, this is my class, and there's going to be, always feel free to take what I've done and make it your own, make it better. That's not a problem. Oh, so if you get a Great Net spell book, be forewarned. You have to read the spells and you have to make changes. And you have to go through all of them. If we see some spells tonight, you'll see where I modified them. Because please note, from those spells, I created an entire dominatrix class as a joke. Okay, so that'll put it out there how spells can go in that Great Net spell book. Yeah. So they have to have a high con, and that's one of the intelligence is super high. This is a rare mage. Con is high too. Human, half elf, and elf, and that includes dark elves. I think dark elf elementalists are fantastic. Hit die, they get an extra bonus to start off. So they have a little higher hit dice than a regular mage. They cannot multi or dual class. They're done. An elementalist you're stuck in this because this is the only thing that you are learning. It's a high, intense, just like a wild mage is in my game class. So no multi, no dual. That's the only thing you're going to ever be is this elementalist. Proficiency is the same as magic user. Spell items are roughly the same. Oh, there you go. Oh, there it is. That's third edition.
Third edition Tomo Magic. Cool. Yeah, I had it in PDF, but I knew I had it in physical copy of it too. So yeah.
Jason, I never got to a familiar for the dominatrix from the Great Net, from making it up because it's just like I made one NPC.
We know what familiar she should have, but we should not mention that on YouTube. Yeah, we want you to be partners, so we should.
Yes, I don't want to lose my partner status.
Yep.
So here we go. Here's the major changes. You got to specialize in an element. There are 6: air, earth, fire, water, quasi, para. 6. And you're like, what the hell? What are those other 2? We'll talk about them in a second. You cannot cast spells from any other sphere. So if you're a fire elementalist, you're never casting lightning bolt. You are never casting stinking cloud. You are never casting ice storm. But you can cast detect magic. You can cast, vocalize or, protection from normal missiles. So your spell list will be the list I've provided here, plus any generic regular magic user spell that any other magic user can cast. It's not another specific sphere spell. I know that sounds like a tongue twister. Base spells, read magic, detect magic, magic missile. I've been trying to wean them off of magic missile because I'm trying to work on, we'll talk about tonight, a force mage. So my next thing I'm working on, I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm trying, that would be a force spell. So I'm trying to wean them away from that. So those books were cool, right? Yeah, who needs those spells? So here's some of the rules. Save from their element at +2, -2 on the oppose, but quasi and para are -1 from all the others because I couldn't figure out an oppose, so I could have made each other oppose, but that would be kind of weird because it's made a -1 on all of them. So that's the major change, is they're going to have their own spell list. They're only going to have spells in their own sphere. So, no, force mage, force spells, Big B's hand spells, force spells. Force, right? Magic missile's a force spell if I've ever seen one. We have force ball as well, which is a banned spell. As you see here, there's some exceptions. True force spells like force ball, which is a fireball in a 10-foot radius, but it's all a force power and what do you call it? An amulet of that can absorb magic missiles, can also absorb force ball points. They can't use those spells. So that is the class as of this point. And then we have your spell list. So if I go over here, and I'm gonna knock this off here and come here, and then we'll go to the basic one. Everyone loves fire, right? So these are spells now that I've written, or someone's written for me, or I've gotten from the Great Net spell book. I've kept the author in here to give them credit. So, and these are just some of the supplements. They're roughly, I think the minimum number for a Elementalist is 90 spells from levels 1 to 9. I think there's roughly a minimum of 8 to 10 for each level for every single class. So 5th level Fire Elementalist, there's at least 8 or 9 spells. So there's a whole bunch, but here are some of them. So here I'm going to go to one right now that, and the author was unknown on this. This spell Alan uses all the time with his Fire Elementalist. It's called Human Torch. It's 1st level. A spell that doesn't exist really. I mean, who knows? Maybe someone made it in 5th edition. It only lasts 3 rounds. The spell causes the wizard and all his clothing to become engulfed in flames. These flames do not harm the wizard or his equipment, but cause 1d4 points of damage to anyone within 5 feet. So anyone fighting in melee combat in my game. An additional 1d6 to anyone who actually touches him. So if anyone who hits him in combat gets an extra 1d6. So it's basically a fire on you're on fire yourself, and people are attacking you. Take fire damage from it. It's kind of a cool 1st level spell. And if you're friends within 5 feet of you, they take the damage too. So, and then here, there's a material component here, and there's all these spells that I've gotten out of the Great Net Spellbook and other publications. So, 4 spells. I think you guys are thinking too scientific on the 4 spell, but that's okay. So, there's levels and levels and levels of these spells. Heat feet's funny. This one blisters your feet, 2nd level. Saving throws special, so you get a penalty on your armor class to hit. You lose dex bonus, and you lose some of your movement rate. It's basically the hot foot spell. So there you go, and that exists in Fire Elementalist. And all these. What's up, David? Good to see you. And these spells create an entire list of. And that's what I forgot to put together and put in my subfolder, because Jay was not too smart on that. Let me go to my main folder here and go to Fire Elementalist Spells and just pop up what the list looks like. Now, I'm always adding spells, so I don't know where this list will be currently. Fire Spells. Oh, and I didn't put it in PDF. I worded it. Okay. Here you go. There's 9 levels of spells. There's more than this too, because I've got some handwritten in. And you can, of course, I didn't put it in PDF because I'm stupid here. But yeah, so here are your Fire Elementalist spells that you have that just the Fire Elementalist can cast. And note there are references down here on what I know you guys can't see this. That's my own fault. So Flame Arrows on here. Melt's Minute Meteors is on here. There's a lot of Fire Shield. Conjure Elemental, which is they can only conjure a Fire Elemental, and we'll talk about that. Delay Blast Fireball, everyone knows that at 7th level. Meteor Swarm at 9th level. You get a lot of these spells that go into this fire realm that a regular mage can cast, but an air elementalist, an earth elementalist, water can't cast those spells. So this creates a fire caster, right? And they tend to be feared because they like to burn things. But that doesn't mean that all they cast are fire spells. They have a lot of generic spells that I don't need to put on this list because they're in general. If I ever put together a list of general magic user spells per level, I'd have like 500 1st level spells, Anna. Right? Because I'm throwing them from all over the place.
Yeah.
So is there anything, what do they do as far as hey, Skaga, thank you. What do they do in 3rd edition? And when you were playing Pathfinder in 3rd edition?
Well, the Pathfinder had an interesting approach to they kind of evolved a little bit from 3.5. So what especially they had what they call you could be when you chose to be a wizard, play a wizard, you could either be a universalist and you got certain bonuses, meaning then you could cast all the spells equally, meaning I want to be a wizard and I just want to be able to cast everything. And then you were a universalist and you got certain bonuses from that, so to speak. They were not related to any specialty. Or you can become specialized in one of the schools, so to speak, and that meant that you get bonuses, meaning you get a certain amount of extra spells that was from that school, whether you were a diviner, in an evoker, a necromancer, or whatever you was, so to speak. So you got, and each school had certain benefits that you got, and you can put in extra spells that you could cast. And more powerful cantrips was one of the optional rules you can have in your field, so to speak, in your specialty. But the drawback was that if you cast things from the opposing school, that meant that they were higher levels. You were not barred from using them. You just had to cast them at a higher level slot.
So I have to ask this question, and I'm not asking this to be facetious.
No, but yeah.
What percent of those spellcasters were invokers? Were the ones that are casting the damaging spells, like 80%?
No, I think that would. I don't know. From organized play, I didn't see that many. Most of them were universalists, but
if they were specialists, I meant if they were specialists.
Yeah, we had diviners that were specialists, but kind of cool. Illusionists.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well,
and transmuters and they were evokers were kind of common because it's kind of flash and bang spell. But there were some others too. Conjurers is kind of fun. You could gate in lots of cool stuff and conjuring summoning. There were a couple of them that were really cool because you can always gate in stuff to fight for you. That was one of the most effective specialists, I think, was one that you could summon stuff. You were conjurer, summoner, and that was very, very effective. And you got more powerful familiars, and you could kind of get in tons of stuff, so to speak. And you can also get banish stuff easily, so to speak. So demons and devils and stuff that was gated in, you can deal with them very powerful, so to speak. So no, I don't think there was only new players probably like, oh, can I cast more advanced fireballs? Yes.
Yeah,
but players that played a little bit, they realized that, and it was, you have Pathfinder organized play was also full of min-maxers, and they realized that some of the other ones were very powerful. You can an enchanter, for instance, could cast a lot of charm spells and things, control things and stuff like that. So almost every speciality had cool things to do, so to speak, and especially the conjurers that could summon things were very, very powerful, because all of a sudden you can summon tons of stuff to fight for you, and that was very powerful.
And this is and that goes into Obsidian's question on this class, and the difference between, if you know, the Conjure Elemental spell takes a turn, 10 rounds.
Yeah.
And we're like, no one's ever going to use it in combat. So what we did was, and here it is, and it has a star next to it here, Conjure Elemental. And the reason it's starred is that it's obviously, this is the fire elementalist, so they can only conjure a fire elemental, but it's 1 round casting time to get it into combat. Yeah. So there you go. All the elementalists, well, all the base 4 elementals have this, but that's it. Here's where it goes downward. The player's option book has this spell at 4th, Conjure Elemental Kin. Those are like Gru types. So you, as a fire elementalist, I believe you'd be able to conjure this, which I have in, and it should pop up here. This at 4th. Fire, the Gru. The Grus, the Grus are like the lesser evil elementals. So, or a salamander, I think, was another option. There's some other options you can cast. So you're able now with these elementalists to cast and get creatures on the field, to assist you from those specific elements that are there. So it's kind of neat when it comes to that.
Yeah, that was very strong in Pathfinder. You could summon stuff, and that was very, very powerful.
Yeah. Here's another one, Fire Phantom. There's a lot of specific spells too, and this P means it's a packet spell. And back in the day, before the days of having PDFs, you would take your Dragon magazine that you saw great spells in. Most of them are written by Ed Greenwood, I find out now, as we and you photocopy them, right? And I go, and here are my elementalists. I photocopy them, and I have the photocopied section. So, and if you ever see my guys like Alan or Bill going, I can't find this spell, and I say to them, here's the fire elementalist, and note, look, you see all that notes? I got writing all over them still. I'm still always adding spells. there's the Great Net Spellbook part in the front, and then there's the photocopied part in the back. And I'm like, look in the photocopied part in the back. So, and I'll go here, for example, here's Fire Phantom, Conjuration Summoning. As you can see, look at how bad that photocopy is. You can barely read it. So this spell used to summon one of the weaker types of fire elementals, the Fire Phantom. 2+2 hit die, can be hit by ordinary non-magical weapons, and attacks once per round for 1 to 8 points of damage, and can ignite any combustible materials. So there you go. So there's a lot of summoning spells specific to summoning different types of elementals in these lists. And then we have some other really cool stuff. Like the 6th level spell, Sarius's Fire Giant Manifestation. Another neat spell. Now, this is right out of the Great Net Spellbook. I want to share this. Because what I did was I just changed these to other elements to add them in. I think this is the original. So, here we go. It's a Conjuration. Yep. Before Lord Gazumba, I used my last name here. So that's how old this is. I mean, Gazumba was around, but I wasn't thinking on it. I wasn't thinking about streaming at that time. So I used my last name. William South wrote this. So, thank you for the follow. This spell creates a golem-like creature which a wizard may direct to perform certain actions. The creature mimics most actions of a fire giant, armor class, hit die. It can inflict structural damage, but you can tell it to perform individual actions. It's a golem-like fire giant. There you go. Another fire elemental. So, Earth Elementalist has Mountain Giant Manifestation. I added a couple. So I may have done Frost as well. So that's how I added spells in. That one may not be the original. The Frost may have been the original. And I made the Fire one because I need spells, right? I wanted to get to roughly 90 spells in each class. So, and you go up 7th, 8th, and then you get up to your super high level spells here. And let's just go up here. Flame Bolt's 8th. Fellstar's Flame Jet. Fellstar's all over the place here. Alpha and Fellstar. Whoever Fellstar the author is, if you know either of them, if anyone knows Alpha or Fellstar from the Great Net Spellbook, let me know who they are. I'd love to reach out to them because there's a ton of Alphas all throughout the Quasi-Elementalist. Dark Rays Elemental Immunity, 8th level. Sheets of Fire, 8th level. Hey, we're getting some nasty spells here. Whispers Malicious Elemental Gates. So some spells are all Elementalists, but they're specific to their class. So this opens up a gate to the elemental plane of fire, and you can just imagine what will happen with that, and then the descriptions on that. This is 9th level, so we try to do a lot of what those super high level, because gate is a spell that's existed in the game as it is. So these are elemental gates.
Cool spell, and I remember the text saying that there something will go through the gate or something.
Exactly.
Come through the gate. So yeah.
Same different. This one's an all elemental spell, and you may see some of my guys using this a lot. Fist of the Element. Big fist of fire or earth or whatever, and they can control it, and they can basically melee combat with it at range. And then, wow, this thing didn't convert over when I look at that. The D didn't. It's just weird. It has a THAC0, and it does damage. It does a lot of damage when it hits. I think it's 2 to 20. 2 die 10 plus 1. So, and then basically they're using a fist of whatever element that they have, and that's something.
Yeah.
So.
Good night, Skageth.
Yep. Your players have the means to create, and Skageth. Hey, 6-7 hour difference, Skageth. Thanks for hanging, man. Really appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Your home players have the means to create an unbelievably large variety of group makeup. Cartman, you're 100% correct. So, I always. And once I said this multiple times, you have to listen to your players, and you have to take their ideas, and you have to see Appalachian. You have to figure out how to keep their interest, and this is how I've had to do it: was with adding variety of casters, of classes, of options, without it becoming not my game anymore. If that makes any sense, like.
It does make sense because it's not when you're a DM, it's not your game personally. It's your group's game. It's you and your players' game that you have to play together, and that means that you have to. It's like me now when I'm choosing a rule system. Meaning, I was like, I should go with Castle and Crusades, but now my players were like, no, see. So it's still an open question, but yeah. So it's kind of
That's interesting that they have said
but
that.
it's a lot of people they haven't played that long, and go back to playing something that feels like old school for them might have been a little bit. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true, and
Yeah.
and a 5e player may just, a lot of people come into my game don't know what to expect. And then
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, this isn't hard." I'm like, "No, it's not. It's
Oh, it's
just
not.
it's
Yeah.
different. That's all. It's just
Yep.
it's a little different." And the
Yep.
great thing about the game is that there's thousands of different ways to play
Yep.
your D&D game. And I'm going to convert the Earth spells over to a PDF here right now so we can see this one because I want to show everyone this one before we go on. My apologies for not having these converted. I thought they were. There we go.
There you go. Perfect. Yep.
Yeah. So, okay.
So do you have like a generic elementalist, or are they all specialists in individual elements? So
they're all specialists. They're all specialists.
Yeah.
You know what? I just erased the wrong one, didn't I? Hold on. Let me just double check. No, I didn't. Okay. I'm messing around playing with fire here, everyone. You know that as far as crashing the stream
in
here.
Live stream here.
Hey, Stefan. So this is one of the more popular, the Earth Elementalist. If you watch Thursday night when Anna played with Mike Disney, I had the Stone Giant Runecaster. He was an Earth Elementalist, basically. Runes, being a Stone Giant. And he cast his spells were almost all from this list. So when I hit someone with this spell here, Bolt of Stone, that comes right from the Great Net Spellbook here, 3rd level, Bolt of Stone. So let me pull up the entire, and this is the cool things you can do. You can peruse books, 3rd, 4th edition books, even 5th edition books for spells that you don't.
Oh, yeah.
And just like, oh, wow, that's cool. And pull it into your game.
Yeah, the D&D editions are close enough that you can just translate them from one edition to the other.
Absolutely easy enough to do, and that's wrong.
Just look at similar spells that are similar in type, and also look at levels. So you because sometimes they need to be powered up and down depending on the edition, and also your play style a little bit, so to speak. So, yeah.
And I'm going to bash Ed Greenwood right now for a second. Not in a bad way, because I said this to him. His spells are way overpowered for the levels they are, a lot of them. And I said that about, remember when I cast Agonizer Scorcher? And that's a fire elementalist spell in my game, too. And I did that, and the guy ran and had that beam. And I was like, I'm getting you with your own spell, Ed. Well, Ed made it 2nd level. And I'm like, there's no way. In my game, it's 4th. So the 2nd level, yeah, it's okay because we already said it in the thing. Yeah, it's a 4th level spell. I'm like, some spells you really need to tweak the level here.
But to me, it tends to be that 3rd party and Dragon magazine and things you find on the internet stuff, tend to be more overpowered or less limited compared to things that are in Player's Handbook and that has been around the bend in many campaigns, so to speak, and seen through. And I think there's a couple of reasons for it. First of all, it takes a lot of practice and testing in order to get a spell perfect, so to speak, that you get the effect you want from it, so players still choose to use it, but they don't want to use it all the time, so to speak, and you limit it. And also I think that a lot of the times it's DMs who invent spells that NPCs and villains should need, thanks. And they want to have some more oomph for them, so to speak, so to power up, and the intention is not to give player characters that to run around and throw it left.
And this is where I don't know if this is if it's one word or two, and they smash it down to one word. The word playtest. You cannot. You can be theoretical, but if you don't try these in games and tell your players, I'm playtesting something, and I'm sorry you're the guinea pigs, but I gotta test it. I'm constantly playtesting stuff, and you have to and note. And then some things are like, wow, that's overpowered.
Yeah, and spells and special abilities are the things that they can break the rules and break things more than hardly anything else, so to speak. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Stefan. So give me some good ideas for giants and ogres, casters. That's perfect. So, no, go ahead, Alex. That's good. Thank you. So, oh, great. Well, you fit right in here, man. Good to see you. I love. Please, if you wouldn't mind, give us a follow here. Where are we at? 6972. 28 more followers. Every 1,000. Where is it? Every
Oh yeah,
1,000. My favorite
your
publication. Thank you. Gives
best of
away, and
yeah.
it's coming. It's sitting right here. I don't think we'll get to it tonight, but we'll get to it by the end of the year. 28's not much for us at all. I give away Best of Dragon Volume 3 every 1,000 through to 10,000.
You have to find more of them.
Yes, yes. I have enough to go 7, 8, 9, and 10. So
Okay.
we've done 1 through 6. I've done 6 of them already. So in addition to all the other giveaways we do, and we have giveaways tonight, please sign up and thank you very much for that. So here's the spell that I was blasting them with that Runecaster on the top of the hill. So for those of you who didn't, and thank you, Stefan, for saying you watched this. I think I probably have a pick here. Now I got my butt kicked again because my players are good. They're tactically sound. Anna and Mike were there. It was great. It was fun. I couldn't hit anything again. I mean, I was having a hell of a time.
Well, I was lucky. I had a character that was made for that adventure. So,
yeah, that's true. Your ranger was perfect, and the dwarves were too.
Yeah.
So I think I have a pick with him up top. Here we go. All right, you see him from the top. Here's the Runecaster. This is a staged pick, by the way. I staged some before the game. So let me throw. You know what? No, I don't want to mess things up.
Put it there.
Right
that's
here for now.
Yeah.
There you go. And that's from an above view. So the Runecaster's on the top, and that's an actual figure that is called a Runecaster. And I said, hey, it's perfect. Make him an Elementalist. So he's throwing down Bolt of Stone, and here's the spell, Bolt of Stone, from here. Peter Gourley is another big one. If anyone knows him, so we got Alpha, Fellstar, Peter Gourley, ton of spells in the Great Net Spellbook. Because these I guess that's Berkeley at Cal, UBC-CA. I think it's Berkeley at Cal. I'm just guessing. This spell creates a powerful bolt of stone, and it does 1d6 points of damage per level. And if they fail, they're stunned as well. A saving throw for half damage, but the range is sickening on this. So he's blasting from the top of the tower this Bolt of Stone spell. He also had, at the very end, if you remember, his armor class went down to -6 from 0. He has this great spell. And this one, Luke Gygax was watching once. I think the last time Ed played, and someone cast this Metal Arm spell. This is another one here. Al Singleton wrote this. This, once again, is from the Great Net Spellbook. So up to 5th level, with a bunch of coins, you cast a spell. Only lasts 1 round per level. Your arm becomes a shield, a +5 shield. It starts at +1 at 1st level. That drops your armor class 6 spots in 1e, 2e. Very powerful, but it's the caster's arm. So only Earth Elementalists in my game can ever cast this spell, Metal Arm, for defensive purposes. And it's kind of a trick. And that's another thing. Make your casters. Make them have unique spells only to that class. I think that way you remember them. So, and that
that's interesting. How do you limit what kind of spells certain class can? Meaning, when you, it's one thing when you have the spells they can take from beginning, but what if they want to research a spell, so to speak? Meaning, what kind of limitations? If you're a bard, for instance, what kind of, can they research their way into Burning Hands, Fireballs, and all sorts of stuff?
No,
or why not?
They can't, but they can research their way into their own unique creations of spells, which I've allowed.
Okay.
And my guys haven't taken super advantage of that, but we have. In fact, Imri has one from Alan's Ranger Mage. Of course, a unique named character, Arathorn, right?
Yeah, very unique.
Arathorn's Ranger Attack.
Yeah.
And Arathorn's Ranger Eyes. So Arathorn's Ranger Eyes allows a non-ranger to track for a certain amount of time. That's a mage spell. And Arathorn's Ranger Attack gives a character who's not a ranger the ranger bonus that they get in melee versus humanoids. So I allowed those in creation for the class, for the character, because it makes sense. And so, and then
the way I handled it was that I gave each class limitations in what kind of schools and how high spells they could cast, so to speak. So some class, meaning wizards, could cast anything except divine spells. So they can cast all arcane spells regardless of school and level. But then you have other things like bards, for instance. They couldn't cast necromancy, and they their invocation, they were strictly limited to only like really low, like cantrips and stuff. Higher level, they could then they had to take special feats and stuff if they wanted to expand their choice of spells, so to speak, and that meant that if they tried to research their way into fiery spells and stuff, that meant that no, they didn't have the competence for evocations or they could do divinations and stuff like that, abjurations and things and so on, and they could do illusions and stuff up to a certain level. So I put like a school cap and a level cap for all stuff, so to speak. So that way I limit them. So it was more like hard coded. So you either had to multi-class or take a lot of extra feats and stuff in order to expand your spell knowledge or your your knowledge, magical abilities, so to speak.
And what's cool about and Stefan, I'm going to show you a perfect example of what you're talking about in 1 second. And Jakandar, we've had Melf, by the way, Melf's been on the show multiple times with Gygax, and actually, he just said Melf's Asadaro. A year and a half ago, I've told this story 100 times. A year and a half ago, we had our fundraiser. I'm sorry,
Just
it was Greyhawk Con. It was Greyhawk Con. I had Luke Gygax, Eric Mona, I had Steven Chenault and Chuck Cumbo from Troller Games. I had Anna, and I had Greyhawk Mike Bridges in the game. And Luke is playing the son of Melf, Eliador, and we were calling him Smelf, right? Son of Melf, Smelf. But Eliador goes to cast, and it was 300 feet away on a hill. He chose the magic, Melf's acid arrow, the target. I'm like, it's out of range.
Yep. Yeah, that was the first thing. You just said it just like I'm casting that, and you said you didn't even describe it. It's out of range, period.
It's out of range. Can't do it.
Yep.
And he's like, what? I was like, it's out of range.
Yep.
So there was a summoned creature below, and he did that on it instead. But to this day, people won't let me live it down. That
it was so cool when you slapped his own spell.
Yeah. So
on him.
Well, thank you. So
that was so funny.
Steph, and we're gonna have so real quick. I'll mention at the end of the show. Ed Greenwood will be back on 2 drink minimum Saturday night, January 15th. I'll be DMing for Ed Greenwood's group. Tony Winslow, Brill, Eric Menke, Eric Boyd are all coming back. Anna for that in 3 weeks, cool. 3-4 weeks.
Yep.
Here we go. Notice I am the creator of this one, Stefan. This is before the Lord Gazumba days. Cone of Metal Shards. Well, I guess that's Cone of Cold.
Yeah, you used that a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice. So this spell is identical to Cone of Cold, except it inflicts damage with sharp metal. It's Earth Elementalist. Take Cone of Cold.
And it's kind of cool because a lot of monsters, might be immune or resistant to various elements, but not against metal shards. So,
exactly. So now resist Earth. Rings of Earth resistance now, instead of just a Ring of Fire resistance, Ring of Lightning resistance, come into play in your game as extra magic items.
Yeah, and that will be a spell that if you cast it, wherever they land would be difficult. That would be like caltrops. I would put it like that will be difficult terrain that you injure yourself walking over, so to speak, that you would take damage or something. So you can get like a second, or maybe you have the spell that they actually disappear after the spell is cast or something, so they don't linger around or something.
Campfire Discord there, if you're interested in Jakandar, for Gary Julian's one, Puffet Smedger himself, who wrote the Living Grail Gazetteer with Eric Mona, and if you want to join into the community, please, we'd love to have you. So there's an example, and it's easy to do in elemental spells. So I'll get Fireball. Boy, that's easy to do.
Right, you
Ice Ball.
Exactly, acid
Ball for water. And I'm going to show you how.
You have Gust of Wind is probably the
Gust of Wind's a third level spell on its own. But there's
which
other
is kind
spells.
of an air equivalent to if you want to use that.
So let me go here. We'll go to we got earth spells. Let's go to air spells. You're like, how the hell do you get all these air spells? You got to think outside the box a little bit, and we haven't even gotten to quasi and para yet. Water's a special. Water is basically 3 different styles. And I want to talk about that. I haven't broken it down as much as I should, but usually I stylize the spellcaster within water, and you probably can figure out what they are right off the bat here. But let me go to air spells. This is air spell description. So you got Airbolt, Animate Mist. You got a lot of mist spells. Cloud Walk, Fog Phantom, Summoning, Jet of Steam. That's also in Para. Stinking Cloud is an air spell. Invisible Stalker is an air spell. Invisible Stalkers are from the elemental plane of air. So just remember that. So there you go. That's an air spell right off the bat. It's a great
because you can have summoning spells. They can summon stuff from their elemental plane.
Absolutely.
There you go, a lot of cool. And you can have them when you have an air, like when you have a puddle of water, you can have
Steamboat.
that a water elementalist could expand it into the elemental, open a gate into the elemental plane of water and pick up things or hide in it or stuff like that. So yeah.
So this spell is one of the most unique spells I've ever seen in an air elementalist. It's called Pander's Whirlwind Travel. This came from the Great Net Spellbook, and you can see it creates a, funnel cloud that you travel inside,
like a tornado.
And so Alan plays air elementalists, a lot of them, and his character Whist. Whenever they need to get anywhere, they get to anywhere quickly because picks them up.
The problem is he's not very anonymously, so to speak.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
You can see you travel, but it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a cool use of it's 4th level use of a spell to travel you in distances.
And also you don't need to make damage on the ground because that thing can just travel up in the air and people can see on the ground that you have this whirlwind going past.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. I mean, it's kind of different, but once again. Only an air elementalist, and there's only 2 of those in my campaign out of all these years.
So you wouldn't let a universalist or normal wizard learn this spell and cast it?
No, I don't think so because I want to keep the uniqueness to this. That they can teleport, right? They can cast Dimension Door and teleport to get around.
Sure, yeah.
So that's why I kind of like.
So you don't have a wizard who can cast anything arcane, so they are limited too in a way then.
I'm sorry. What do you mean by arcane?
Meaning arcane spells, meaning all the wizard spells. But you don't use spell schools that way.
I don't use spell schools that way, so there's no split out. So I go. It's 1E. Remember, everything you see here is back in
2nd edition. Spell schools came in 2nd edition. That's
right. But for me, I use general magic users because remember, all our multi-class. Here comes the ever mysterious Tim is coming on. Everyone,
hey, hang on a second. I think that we're. Now I'm kind of curious to see if they actually were.
Here you go, Stefan. Instead of Cone of Cold, Cone of Steam.
I think that.
There you go. And this one I didn't do myself. This is Max Betcherer did this one out of the Great Net Spellbook. What's up, dude?
Hello.
Hello.
Magic Mists. The intelligent mists are running. There's a lot of those summoning.
There were spell schools in 1st edition.
There were, but they were.
But they're
just the type of spell. I'm not.
They're just there. There were no rules for them, so to speak. So yeah.
So here's that giant manifestation that I showed, the fire giant, and there's a mountain giant one. Saris's fog giant manifestation for air. So there you go. So we have a version of that. Notice I modified
giant.
it.
That's an interesting.
It creates a golem version of a giant that you control, and all the base 4 elementals it's 6th level, so it's a pretty powerful spell, and you
can imagine like cloud creatures or stuff like that. Just like you have shadow creatures, you can imagine cloud creatures that are semi-real, just like you have shadow creatures.
And here are those spells. Here they are. Magic Mist. There you go, Anna. And it has different.
There you go.
Messenger Mists, Guardians, and Monarch Mists all in this spell.
I think we had a Greyhawk connection in the Vampiric Mist.
Okay, Celtic.
I think we have a Greyhawk connection in that.
See, Stefan, now you're thinking greatly, in my opinion, because now you can take. Oh my gosh, I gotta cast Resist Fire because I know the mage is gonna cast Fireball at me.
Is he?
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Exactly. And you don't have to make elementalists up. You can just do this for general mages if you want to. All right. So here's a spell I created.
Might I recommend Minor Globe of Invulnerability?
Yes.
and regular Globe of Vulnerability.
Yeah.
By the way, the ever mysterious Tim, everyone.
Hello.
If you're new to the stream, I know a couple people are. Here's his head. Tim loves a good critical anytime. Oops, I put the black
Who loves a good
every
crit?
time.
Yeah, there he is. So one thing there was a lack of was higher level air spells. So I had to add one. It's a minor spell. I think I've used it once. Actually, 2 of them. I have Twister, which is 8th level.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have Tornado, which is 9th level.
Oh, yeah. So you get a little Dust Devil kind of thing that is a little bit, yeah, you can
But
have
they're
like
not
a low
alive.
level.
They're not alive.
Okay. Oh, they're like real weather phenomena.
Yes, this spell summons an
Can you
unintelligent major tornado.
Oh, so you can't control it. It will go in random direction after you do it? Or,
Yes.
or can
it will
you...
move in a line from the initial summoning at a rate of 20 inches, which is 200 feet per round in my game. All
and
creatures
it's not controlled by the wizard. It will go in a random direction?
Straight.
Oh, okay.
Swath of destruction.
Oh, so you tell it which direction to go, and then
Yeah,
it
it
will
goes,
just
and that's
keep
it.
going in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay, so you set the initial direction it's going in.
This is 9th level, so this is as high as it gets. And notice the area of effect is 30-foot width by 3 times the level foot height. Length, so it can go for a long way based on the level of the caster, because you need to be 18th level to cast this spell.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 18th? Yeah, it's 18th for 9th level.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 18th. Yeah,
level.
it's 2. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All creatures under 5 hit dice are killed instantly with no saving throw.
Sucks to be them.
Yeah, there you go. But on the other hand, how fast was the movement rate?
200 feet on my 20 inches per
so
round.
You can't outrun it. It's faster
unless you
than
have boots of speed on.
Well, you're better.
But you can maybe go sideways.
Exactly, just like you can in a regular tornado.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's a tornado. So you want to run at a 90-degree angle to its path.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. Otherwise,
how wide is it, Jay?
Width is only 30 foot.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
so
run 90 degree. Yeah. Everyone disperse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is where this gets used on a tower defense.
Yeah.
The tower's gone, right? Mm-hmm. It's 9th level once again. So yes, damn weirdo. Take a spell, fireball, and turn it into any other element: earth ball, snowball, water, whatever, and mess with them, and just say, "Hey, I'm the DM." So, and you don't even need to make these other ones.
Yeah, and then you should have weathers like dispel weather and stuff like that as a spell to counter this. That high level druids and stuff can do.
Oh, yeah, druids can do stuff that's just as nasty, right? Super high level druids, but this is air elementalist.
But then you should if you have spells like this, you should have like a druid or certain clerics that have weather. They should have like a calm or dispel weather spell.
Twister's
or something
not
like
as
that.
nasty.
Magma ball.
Well, we're not there yet.
Now we're talking.
We're not there yet. We'll get there, Tim. You know that because you helped create that
earthquakes and
steam
stuff,
ball.
Yes, yeah. Tim has really helped out with this. So
yeah.
Air, earth, fire, water. Water is a little different because water has 3 kind of subspheres within it. Water spells, ice spells, acid spells. And I kind of when I do an enemy spellcaster, I don't do this for the PCs. They tend to be one of those 3. Right, they're shooting out a lot of acid spells, or they're doing a lot of damage with water or ice, just because I like to do that kind of stuff. But that's just what's within. I know
Well, fire is the big fear. That's the big.
Yeah, we discussed that before you got on. Absolutely, everyone's scared to death of fire elementalists. So airquake, instead of earthquake.
I know. Well, I know. Discussing possibly being killed as a young infantry officer, me and my fellow officers agreed we'd rather die than be burnt.
Yeah.
So this really scary.
Airquake instead of earthquake would outright kill flying creatures. It's that simple. A flock of something coming, you kill them all. I mean, that's how I would do an airquake over an earthquake. Simple.
Airquake, that's an interesting.
Yeah, like a severe air turbulence.
Okay.
Almost like a tornado. An airquake would be.
Yeah.
In my
well, imagine air just shearing at you pick that speed you want to shear at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's gonna. If you're in the midst of that crack,
it will probably not kill them, but it will take them out of control, so to speak. So,
or I'd make
you can kind of.
I would make an airquake go straight down, so if it moves you so many feet, and if the ground intercepts you before you reach the end of that downward current, you just crash in the ground, accelerated.
So, Curtis, I forgot the Prayers from the Faithful and the Magic User book with a blue cover on it that Ed uses. I forgot that in my pile here. I use that a lot. Snowlock Snowball Swarm, which is a water elemental spell, but some of them are so normal that I've allowed them. That's one that regular mages can cast. So there are spells. Fireball, regular mage can cast. Fire elementalists can cast. Snowlock Snowball Swarm. Second level, regular mages can cast. We got it cast last night by Dylan. She has it. I think that even Emery has that in her book too. I think that's Water Elementalist as well. So some of those that are so regular base are allowed, but not the specialized ones. So it's a good point. So, all right. Water, we discussed that, but let's go to the two specialty ones now that Tim's here. The first one I did was based on this creature. Oh, and we'll get to this. Okay. I'm going to leave this up. If you see a spell, what sphere is it? Well, here's some keywords, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. That will determine which one it should, in my opinion, it should go to. You may have a different idea than I do, but that's okay.
The para ones are kind of combinations of two of the main four.
Right. Well, it's more than that. It's actually more than para that I've done now. But here's I added to the para. So this is Monster Manual 2. Quasi-elemental lightning. I'm thinking to myself, that's pretty cool. It comes from its own elemental world. And I have a lot of lightning spells that none of the elementalists can use. And I love everyone loves lightning spells. And then there's this creature right out of Shokanth. Who am I talking about, Tim? What am I going to be putting up? It's at the very end of the Shokanth module. Come on, Tim. Come on. Don't disturb. Looks like that a little bit.
But there is a creature like that because.
Oh.
Zeggies.
I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah. Zeggies and Zeggies. Positive. The positive energy, the Zegga, and then the negative, the Zeggi. Remember the book? They're in the end of Shokanth.
I actually I think I ran into that actually when I was playing in somebody else's game when I was off in the army somewhere, and I was playing Fang. I made a version of Fang for him.
Fist.
And this thing showed up somewhere, and Fang looked at it and then immediately ran maximum speed elsewhere. And the DM almost fell out of his chair laughing because he's like, he thought it was the best role playing ever.
Because he'd be scared.
Normally characters go into, oh, I have to defeat this,
right?
Mode. So I ran away.
And it probably was a smart thing to do.
It was very smart.
Yeah, very smart there. Give me 1 second here because I want to pop up the entire quasi list. So I'm thinking to myself, I have enough spells to create this quasi-elemental lightning. I'll call it a quasi-elementalist. And the quasi-spheres are multiple. It is lightning, radiance, and magnetism. They're the three that form. It's
where does mineral fall in?
Mineral falls in para.
Okay.
Yeah, mineral falls in para. So let me get the quasi up here real quick.
It's like a subset of earth.
Yeah, it's in between.
Should be, I guess.
Yeah, well, some mineral is earth, and some there's some that I put in a para, and that have like another mineral element to it, like salt, and
anything.
Give me 1 second here. Yeah, I can't even figure out where my quasi spells.
I already have it. Just taking dirt and rocks and stuff. That's all that is. But the para, you're getting very specific and refined.
And one of the ones that I want to see is the ooze specialist.
Oh yes, ooze is para too. Ooze
exactly.
Ooze
is one of the paras. And that is so cool. Ooze specialist.
Tim really helped create that class a lot, as we're discussing.
I had back.
My apologies.
You was. So this class is super great against undead. They have a lot of spells like and by the way, have you ever played Diablo 2 where you can do that lightning bolt charge that goes down the hall?
Yeah.
So Alan created that spell right here, charge bolt. So that spell actually exists now from Diablo 2. Alan created it and we put it in the list. A lot of these spells are really nasty against, and notice this character alpha is all over the place. Whoever this, I want to thank this alpha person from all the spells. This all great net spellbook spells.
I was actually making a school, like I was the whole idea of schools and of magic, and I actually had created a book of alpha, which is a collection of all alpha spells.
Right, because he has all their spells that outside of lightning. Yeah,
tons of them.
Tons of them. Notice lightning bolt is on here, right? Lightning bolt. Notice ball lightning is on here too. right? Just like a fireball, but ball lightning. This spell is really cool. Lightning blast. So a lot of these are getting converted into shamanism. This lightning blast is a mini lightning bolt single target. If you notice, a lot of my shamans of bugbears and stuff can do a single target, like shock on someone, and that's that spell. So see, there
What
is
level
some.
is that, Jay?
There is some second. It's 1d8 plus 1d6 every 2 levels. Save for half, single target. So
I'm going to steal that.
yeah,
for,
please feel free to steal.
For the underdogs, Priest of the Thunder God.
So Alpha Starlight, there's a lot of spells with outdoors. Starlight, Sparkle Beam. I'll talk about Night of the Energy Beam. This is the big one. This one, undead creatures must save versus rods to avoid taking maximum damage. It's like a beam of energy that's similar to a magic missile, but it's positive energy, and it blasts undead. That's only first level. This one's really cool. And it's let me get to it here. There's lightning blast. See, I modified it slightly. 1d8 plus 1d6 for every 2 levels of the wizard beyond first. One creature, single target, decent range. Mini lightning bolt, zap, which is great for shooting into melee combat because you're not going to hit anyone. So there you go. I think that's very shamanistic witch doctors. For something to give them beyond magic. I'm tired of magic missiling everything to death, right? Change things up a little bit. Here it is, Shock Sphere, 2nd level. This one does similar to ball lightning, but it hits a single target in the middle. That target takes die 4 per level, and then running out to 20 feet, everything out in a 20-foot radius takes die 3. So whatever's in the middle gets shocked worse than everything around it. So it's a little mini ball lightning at 2nd with a massive range. 2-inch diameter sphere is 20 feet. Author, oh my gosh, Paul Walker, the actor, did it. Paul D. Walker. I'm just kidding. It's probably another Paul Walker. So, yeah, unfortunately, rest in peace. Otherwise, this is similar to Fireball. So there you go. Taken right from Great Net Spellbook as well. Note, not all these spells are from Great Net Spellbook. EX, that's the Excalibur Relic and Rituals book. All right. SS, Moonglow. Ed Greenwood's 7 Sisters book. All right. There's another ES. EM, Cross of Lightning. Monty Cook style. By Monty Cook, the Book of Eldritch Might. All right. EM and EM2 spells. I could go on forever and pulling in spells from other places. I do a lot of 3rd edition spells but just note, find books you like, whatever edition you're playing. Find the books, no matter whatever edition they're from, and convert them into the edition you're playing. There's no reason you can't do that. Let's talk about.
There's one problem with that, Jay.
What's that?
There are so many.
There are. That's why. Yes, and that's why people say, "Well, categorize your spells." I'm like, you can't. Tim's dad tried to once and gave up. Your dad was creating a Microsoft Access database of every spell. I said,
yeah,
John,
he was.
John, you're going to go crazy. We have to literally have 3,000 spells. That's my guess in the campaign.
I'm thinking of as I'm doing a campaign for my son and his couple friends. I'm going to make different schools, like literally colleges where they're.
That's a good idea.
If you want a certain spell, you're going to have to do something for them because they're not just going to give it to you, and kind of divide them out in those sort of collections. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they didn't have a database with pre-computers, so you have all these groups researching their own genius. They have all their own separate genius. And they're not going to share it, because some of them, think about it. If you're a king somewhere, it's going to be a state secret. We don't want anyone else knowing how to do lightning, whatever lightning charge or whatever it is you have that's unique. They're not going to want to share it unless, it's worth or to a trusted entity. So are you trusted? You're just some scruffy adventurer? No, I don't think so. You're going to have to prove yourself first. So that's a great way to blend your access to spells and
I was discussing researching that way too, and then creating lists. And so we do. So here's something you may want to do, which is tough. This has really been tough to keep track of. So this is my miscellaneous magic user book, but the Guild of, and I don't do this for Greyhawk. I just did it for Altamira. I'm assuming Greyhawk has almost everything. But here is the spells. This is base magic spells for the Altamira Magic Users Guild. spells that they have in their library. Notice I'm writing them down and all, and just base, not the specialty ones, but there you go. So, that they can have access to learn when they go up in level. So, yeah.
I mean, mostly Unearthed Arcana ones, right?
No, there's a lot of special.
I mean, yeah, all those though.
Oh, all the Unearthed Arcanas are on there for the most part, but then you add the other ones, yeah. So here's one I want to discuss under Quasi, and that is Alpha's Knight of the Leonids. This is like one of those, yeah, cool.
What level's that?
3rd. This spell can only be cast outdoors at night, so sucks to be you if it's in the middle of the daytime and you took it. Sorry. It calls down a number of flaming meteorites to strike entirely on any targets within range. So basically, you're calling stuff from the stars, right? Basically, stars and sky.
Small ones. They're small, right?
Yeah, sure, they are. 1d4 meteorites plus another for every 5 level of its experience. There you go. You're getting hit by a bunch of meteorites. That's basically what it is. Yeah. And they come blazing down from the heavens, boom. So it's a neat spell, but it's outdoors at night. Stars are out.
Oh man, think of the sound barrier. They break the sound barrier.
Meteors can come at daytime too, but I guess they have to limit the spell to make it less useful.
Yeah,
because they you have several other meteor spells. I think what is it like meteors?
Most minute meteors are things that create you throw. They're basically throwing projectiles.
I have seen video of a meteor falling in daylight, and you still saw it. And it goes for about 10 miles radius.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, look at the Tunguska, or the one that flew past Russia, like what was it, 10 years ago, and that one caused like window panes. It was like a supersonic. It was a hypersonic boom that kind of went like a cone out 10, 20 miles out from when it went through. So so you can really disturb a lot of things with it. So
So here's a similar to the giant manifestation. Alpha's Rainbow Warrior. It creates an energy and spirit of a creature from the quasi-elemental plane of radiance. It's basically a giant who's in rainbow form, and it has all sorts of special abilities. Hence, it's different from the other base spheres, air, fire, water, but it's still a 6th level.
I'm going to say he stole that from Hawaii.
I was just going to say it might be
very possible for
today's climate.
No, I mean the Rainbow Warriors are like University of Hawaii's football team.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a great.
Because it's a land of rainbows. You get a lot of rainbows there.
Yeah.
So here is the quasis don't get Conjure Elemental. Instead, they get this Radiance Quasi, where they can summon. Oh, this one's a lesser. Let me go to the higher one. I think it's 5th, and then you'll see Alpha's Conjuring. Oh my gosh, where is it? Here it is. So they can control quasi-elementals, which are those quasi-elemental lightnings, but they can get a Zag-Ya in it as well, which is kind of nasty. So from that positive energy, they're pretty nasty. And so there you go. It's a summoning spell for them. It's a little different than the standard Conjure Elemental spell, but this was taken into consideration. Yeah. Meteorites look way more dramatic at night. Well, that's true, and that's the cool thing. You want it to be cool. So there's Quasi, and this is one of the more popular classes. I know of at least 4. There's 4, I think, in the campaign. That and Earth are the 2 most, believe it or not. Then the least is Air. Air and Para are the least, because Para is still the newest by far. And Fire's right in the middle, because people go, everyone's a Fire Elementalist. Well, then there's not many. There's like 2. Bill's got one in the new Narwhal Headhunters group. He's a Fire Elementalist. So we got a recent one here. All right. So then we come to one where I have 2 spell lists, because Tim never gave me the file, so I can blame him.
What?
Yeah, you get. It's a photocopy, right? I scanned it in myself.
What are you talking about?
These. So this is Tim must have given them 15 years ago now, maybe the Para.
Snap. Yeah, I have the file.
And notice I had to change a lot of Tim's spell levels because they were overpowered. So, but I'm just kidding, Tim. So
he had to change it to fit his aesthetic as the DM should.
Yes. Tim comes to me with an idea on prisms and refractions and all sorts minerals and all sorts of things, and I'm thinking, well, this is going to fit into a 6th category, the Para Elementalist, which I've been wanting to do for a while, because you have all those ooze spells, stuff that just doesn't, salt especially, smoke. It just doesn't fit anywhere. And what can I do with that? And hey, there's a ton of those spells out there. We can make a class. So notice some of these are quasi. Went over to quasi because they just didn't make the Radiance ones didn't make sense here. They went over into the quasi spells. Right. But here's Tim's big spray of sodium. This is a big one Tim created. Creates a linear spray of sodium that shoots 20 feet from the start point, and then they get coated with it, and it begins to burn 1 to 3 rounds after. If water is introduced, it explodes into a superheated ball. So it's a really cool spell.
We're not talking about salt intake here on the sodium.
Yeah, we're talking about the explosive sodium. And notice I upped the blast area from 1d6 to 2d6. So I did up it here. I changed it. So and these are all this entire list is all Tim creation of
spells. Do I have Radiant Glare in there?
It's all alphabetical. Radiant Blade, Radiant Lance. No, you have Radiant Blade and Radiant Lance. So they're all para as well.
Radiant Glare.
Create crystalline entity. That's 7th. Oxidized metal. Oh, Radiant Mist. I nixed because we had enough of those over in. That one's one of the few that I nixed on this. Protection from Lightning's already in there. I wasn't giving that to Druidic Spell. I didn't want to do crossover. So notice Tim has put in his work here. With that, you have all these really, and you'll see it. You can tell it's a newer era because it looks better. Look, they look nicer now. The spells, and these are all para spells too from the Great Net Spellbook. Ash. Right, Elemental Ash, Ashen Buckler. Healing Touch of Salt. So it can heal you a little bit, but it burns like hell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, Irritating Dust. These are all firsts. What's that?
I don't remember.
These are all, yeah. Mud Mold, Ooze.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Salty Wounds. Sharp Edge. That's Mineral. I have a para elementalist. I have Olga Bubka. The Kondratas Bubka's daughter, and she's actually mentioned in the Earth Journal article I did on the Free Swords of Greyhawk. So she is always cast the Sharp Edge on Bill's son's character's ranger, Sean the Slayer, because he loves to have a sharper edge on his weapon. So she always takes this for him to cast, for him to do more damage with his swords. And then we go up to some higher Soot Ball. This is a nice one too. That's a good spell too, Soot Ball. Oh yeah, there's some Sweat. That's Steam. Clay Object, Dusty Trail, Extract Salt. There's a lot of salt spells. Here's another Ooze. Philippines Incandescent Ooze. So there's a ton of these spells that just don't fit. That I was like, oh, we got a spot for them now. So a Para Elementalist is cool and it's different. And the good thing is that this. Let me find another high level. I know there's a really nasty high level slime. Here it is, Slime. That's Ooze as well. This spell covers the caster with almost invisible slimy material, enables it to move freely through web and entangle spells, makes it impossible to grasp or grab. As a side effect, the caster cannot wield any weapons, but can still manipulate spell components. There you go. It makes you immune to being incapacitated because no one can grab you or touch you. And that's a nice, cool 3rd level defensive spell. So there you go. Neat. And it goes a Wall of Dust, and it goes on and on. Control Oozes, Dust Cloud. So this one's cool. Fright Iron Spears. I use this a lot in area effect. 60-foot radius. A bunch of iron spears just drop from the sky and cut you all up. But I never do a lot of damage with it. That's just because my dice roll terribly. Lava Wave. Could be fire as well, but I put it in there. There's enough fire. Salt Javelins. So the Para Elementalist was created as the 6th one where nothing that fit anywhere else goes. Now, that's a lot of different paras. So you could cut it up into Para A, Para B if you want. You could, Anna, you could make it just ooze. I think there's enough to make Ooze and some other things together.
I used back in, that's like 15 years ago or something, I had an adventure where they met an Ooze specialist.
That's good. That's cool.
Yeah, a crazy guy who was into oozes and
summon stuff, summon black puddings and stuff.
Exactly, he summoned them and could turn them invisible and all sorts of nasty tricks.
That is a great idea. All right, so here is this. Now this will make much. This will make much more sense. Here's your elemental sphere. So if you have a spell and you don't know where to categorize it, sometimes one of these keywords will be in the spell description. And this is
Also, you have a generic para elementalist that could
yes,
do
all that. I threw it all in there because yeah, all of it. Crystal, ash, dust, salt, smoke.
Yes, we have one quasi and one para.
Yeah, one quasi. I have 6 elementalists. I think that's enough for the time being. So
yeah.
Yep. Very, very, very.
Some
very
of the kind of cool. Some para you can have like a guy who is crazy about smoke, or
absolutely.
You can have some ooze slime. You can kind of put them together and say that they're kind of ooze slime specialist or something. So
yeah. A lot of these are keywords you're looking for in a spell description. If you're like, where does that belong? And this is only my opinion. You can always change this. You can make lightning just its own element. I mean,
and you can make nasty dark druids that are vermin specialists.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Spider swarms, all nasty stuff that way, so to speak. They can be vermin specialists and stuff. So yeah,
100%. All right, Tim, what are your thoughts on para elementalists that you help create? Hey Hops, good to see you.
I kind of again, I haven't fully digested the Great Net Elementalist or Elemental book.
Yeah, I haven't even really.
But I really like how they arrange it, because they actually codify the primaries.
Let me put up
the quasis and the paras, and they're all related, and they lay them out, and so the variety of elementalists.
What year is this from? 99. This is from everyone.
Right. The variety of elementalists could be, you could be a basic elementalist, which is you just cast earth, air, fire, water, but you can do all of them. Or you can be a specialist where you focus only on one. And there's advantages to doing it. And of course, there's limitations too. But then they have they have quasi and paras, and there's basically the way they've arranged it is they're combinations of different elements. So, dust is air and earth is dust, right? And all the variants.
Smoke is like water and air and stuff
maybe you're not a basic elementalist. Maybe you're a para, which would give you access again to that quadrant, that cross section.
You know what that does?
Which would give you an access to the quasi ones. Or they have other varieties where you could focus maybe on 3 of them, and the 3 may be totally unrelated, but those are your areas of study. So it seemed really interesting to me. I haven't explored it fully and read it all because it's 2 volumes, so it's pretty big.
And this is volume 1. So this is where this is great for a starter. You don't need to create spell lists now, because with those, if you're pulling from 3, now you got 3 different ones, and you can just, if you're creating an NPC up, you can create your spell list for what you're going to cast. You don't have to do what Crazy Me has done, and that is create an entire spell list for all of them, all 6 right here. But I need to do this because all my guys are player characters for these elementalists, so I have to have a spell list, and I'm a control freak too, so I have to have it right. I need to know. As a DM, I need to have play balance. I can't have them casting some spell I don't know about it. I can't. I gotta know what the spell is ahead of time, because you got to be able to prepare for it. There we go. Where's that going? So I don't want them casting super mega duper looper fireball, which is it's 1 level higher. It's 4th level. What's it do? It does die 8 per level instead of die 6. I'm like, no. Where did that come from? I can't have that stuff, because that's where play balance goes out. But, Jay, I want to make up this spell, and here's my ideas. Okay, let's talk about it. And notice, once again, I'll bring Tim's list back up. There's some edits in there, right? There's some edits. I made this spell 3rd. I made this spell 3rd instead of 2nd. I made this spell 5th instead of 4th. Some of them I put in quasi, right? This one I made 5th instead of 3rd, 2 levels higher. But most, he's dead on some of the levels and spells. That he did on. That's
a good utility one right there.
What, Purify Ore? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's a roleplay one. Go ahead, Anna. Go ahead.
How much go ahead, Anna.
I was going to say, Damn Weirdo has a good question. Can create water be reversed to destroy water? Can you target the water inside of someone?
There is. All right. So you just described a spell in Tome of Magic, and it is from. Are you ready? From Mike Bridges' favorite spellcaster that he made. He's only mentioned in here,
Yes.
and he's made in he's from All,
Yeah.
and that's Abby Dalsum. All right,
Yep.
so are you ready?
The
You just
dehydration,
described
right?
Abby Dalsum's Hard Wilting. You just described this 8th level spell. It's in Tome of Magic. I got the wrong damn book out. Hold on.
One of my favorite dragon types from an alternate type of dragon has a breath weapon that dehydrates.
Yeah, that's good too.
Is that one of the Is that one of the off colors? Is orange? No, not orange.
Jason.
Yellow do that?
Jason, how can you slap down Melf if you don't know your own? Yeah, like I said, Jason, I know 3,000 spells. It's kind of hard.
But you knew that one inside out. So
Yeah. Well,
8th
yeah, it was
level.
only 30-foot range. He was trying to do 120. Come on.
yeah.
Man.
Abby Dalsum's Hard Wilting. There it is. Okay, 8th
There you
level. Here we go.
Mhm.
This spell evaporates moisture from the bodies of every living creature within the area of effect, inflicting 1d8 points of damage per level of the caster. The spell is especially devastating to water elementals and plant creatures who receive a penalty of -2 to their saving throw. 30-foot cube. So if you're 8th level, you have to be 15th. The minimum spell this does damage is 15d8 halved. So think about that.
That's all.
It's pretty disgusting. Yes, so you nailed
It
it.
turns you into a little cube of minerals.
Salt. It turns you into like in Star Trek. That one. Yeah. So there you go.
Starship Warden.
And Abby Dalsum has been Mike Bridges did a whole write up on him. So and I used him as a mentor for Nazim bin Khalifa, who Tim played in that game that I slapped down Melf.
Physician, heal thyself.
Yes, exactly. But it's a great question. It really is a good question. So note, I don't want this just to be about me bragging about the classes, the elementals I've made. I want this to be thought-provoking for you guys to throw wrenches in to against your against your characters. There's nothing more exciting, as Stefan's finding out, than throwing up someone who's cast. Go ahead, Tim. Yeah.
I was just thinking. So the party's hired to escort all this ore that's been mined and it's taken out somewhere. And there's a big wagon train, whatever. When someone sneaks in at night, does purify ore, pulls all the real gold out of the ore, whatever metal it is, and then runs off with it. So now they got wagon loads of rock with
Basically,
no ore
fool's
in
gold.
it, no good stuff in it. So
Fool's gold.
yeah, or
Yeah.
Run off with the good stuff.
Thank
And
you.
You can do some really cool
don't need to fight
combinations. Yeah, I'm thinking like an ooze dragon.
Yeah, I mean, a dragon that's like from like
A dragon that
breeds
uses
slime.
ooze and stuff that
Oh yeah,
breath weapons and
mutated
have,
somehow.
Yes, yeah, with
Oh,
something
there's
like
great
meaning you can combine nasty stuff into really cool when you think about stuff like this.
And then if Anna does that, she'll eventually make an abyssal version. So watch.
Oh
out.
yes,
yes,
an
absolutely.
abyssal ooze dragon and they're in trouble, so to speak.
So
Yep.
is orange salt and yellow sodium, or is it vice versa for the colored dragons?
Don't ask
Yeah,
me.
Tim
I
will know.
think.
Is it purple's
think-
energy?
Yeah, purple's energy.
One salt and one sodium. Yeah,
Oh, I don't remember.
yellow
which
salt
is
and orange is sodium, or vice
Okay,
versa.
I'm thinking that
Yeah.
the alternative dragon type article has a breath weapon that dehydrates.
Yeah,
So it
the color
automatically
wheel.
like boom, you just lost half your hit points.
Absolutely.
And you can have like a troll shaman that is using some elemental thing
That's it. So
and uses smoke or uses some of this speciality and go with it.
That
Like
is a
smoke
great
specialist. Smoke
point.
is a smoke a troll that is a smoke caster, so to speak. That is the shaman of the troll tribe, and it comes puffs and smoke and then the occasional kind of cloud spells and like nasty things like smells bad and stuff like that, stinking clouds and occasionally and stuff like that. With a bunch of trolls, you can put the shaman in there that going crazy in one of these things, for instance.
And it's a way. And Anna's dead on. It's a great idea. It's a way to take these spells and play test them at lower levels.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
Dust, they cast ash, they cast dust. You
exactly.
Test them on your characters.
Yeah. you can invent things like dust trolls or some other dust devil thing and have like a shaman that is specialized in doing some nasty stuff.
Dust is so effective. I mean, anyone who's been in the rotor wash of a helicopter knows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're not doing anything.
You keeping like this and yep.
And you don't have clear goggles.
Exactly. You don't do anything until it's gone. So yep. Mm-hmm.
It's something that you want have fun with playtesting and experimenting. So get the Great Net spell book and the Elemental book. Both of them. I recommend getting the first Great Net spell book because there's so many spells, and trust me, you're going to be tired of seeing all the sexual spells in there. Just ignore them.
There's supposed
so many of them in there. And there's so many weird ones.
Edit those out.
Edit those out. But there's some really the alpha spells, the Felstar spells, the Peter Gourley spells. They're all fantastic in there.
And I'm planning on parsing them out and making those schools, schools headed up by, he's a famous guy. He's going to have a college where he's training. Like my character is a 16th level, has a school. Yep. And he, I've made a couple spells, but these spellcasters with a ton of spells, they're going to have a college and training. They need to have some funds coming in.
Yeah. How
do they do it? This is how, and they run these groups that, and maybe some of them are more connected politically. Those are just tools to use for your campaign to
absolutely
push the characters around.
and note that it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about your game. It's your game, so experiment.
What your players think. That's what you.
I'm talking about outside.
Exactly. It's what your gaming group thinks of your game.
Yeah, exactly. And that's 100%. And Tim and I had a little spat for about 10 seconds with this stupid crystal ball he's using multiple times on Thursday night, right?
Well, that happens.
And I'm like, oh my god, you see the tower, And then I was getting.
Jay is very notorious for hating auguries. He doesn't like to
hating auguries over and over and over.
Oh, yeah.
No, but I was separated by a couple of days. But I knew this and just capitulated immediately.
Yes. And he got me back yesterday. If you watched, he dinged my phone 100 times as we're playing.
Yeah.
It's like,
I was actually thinking about dinging it too. That was there were several of us that were thinking
Josh
about
Pop
sending
did it too.
He did it too. And I was thinking about doing it, but I didn't.
Who else did it?
Josh Pop. He's playing the game and he's doing it.
I was thinking about doing it, but I didn't.
I have to admit, the sound, your notification sound, is such a pleasant little ping.
Yeah.
Yep. It was so nice.
Yeah. So I couldn't figure out, I'm in the middle of the game. I was barely looking at chat, and I appreciate the mods last night. But, I was talking afterwards. We were talking to Little Bones. I'm not sure if Lindsay's still on. But I had that necromancer going up against her, and they were a couple of them were scared because they had no idea what was coming at them, and that's the feeling you want to get. There's nothing worse than mage, he's probably gonna lightning bolt me, or he's going to chrono cold me if he's that level, because you want to make it a little tricky. And you can do that with your priests too, because there's a ton of specialty priest spells out there. And I know we had a priest discussion with Eric Boyd and Malden a couple months ago, but we always need to go back there. But I haven't done a specialty druid discussion, Anna. We need to do that and talk about just druids down the road too. That would be a good one too. But so questions from the audience, or Tim, Anna, any comments or questions you have? We'd love to take some questions. Politics and DDs. Politics is cool. And for higher level, it's always the way to get there.
Can be cool. Yeah, in-game politics can be fun if it's grounded in realities in the game world, so to speak, and probably don't try to mix real politics with games, because that kills the fun.
So, Ron, I disagree. What I have Gandalf as is dual. If he's 1E2, he's dual class. He's got levels of fighter, maybe up to 5th, and then he's a spellcaster after it.
Yeah, because he's damn good with the sword and a whole bunch of stuff. So
Well,
yeah,
but also he wasn't really a human.
Right. He was.
no,
brought,
he's kind of a
Yeah, he was brought
Sort
in
of a quasi-angelic
Yeah,
higher being.
right. But if you were talking about just in a pure sense of what he was, and if it was converted to my game,
it was like 20 level wizard and 5th level fighter and probably a little bit of cleric or something too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd bust them up a little higher in fighter, but still,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
maybe
sure,
second.
both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that does it. Celestial, exactly. But once again, Lord of the Rings is such a different setting.
Yeah,
than
it's
Greyhawk.
kind of different from Greyhawk.
Yeah,
in many ways. Yeah.
But it's an interesting topic
Well,
for
there's
discussion.
there's the anthropology, and then there's the game mechanic.
Right,
Mhm.
that's true.
Yep.
Which are
Yep.
and Middle Earth had its own game system too. Your dad was big on that back in the day.
The production quality was so amazing back then.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
And there's a new one coming out now. Free League have a new version of Middle Earth roleplay. So yeah.
Oh, it's always a shame when a group peters out there, a card man, and that's where I am so fortunate. Tim could go out, and is in Italy, is in Korea, all over the place, right? All over the world. And then, now back, and we're all in our 50s and we're still playing,
Yeah,
others.
we would have played probably more if the internet was caught up.
Yeah, remote. You'd be
Idea.
remoting in via Zoom back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Dragonlance is cool on that end. Trust me, on politics, there is a ton of Greyhawk politics.
Yes.
Of
Mhm.
politics going on.
Oh yeah, my campaigns are made from
huge.
Greyhawk politics. It's big in my games. Yeah.
So if you
Very
watch
political games.
So if you watched last night, I had a legendary character in a cameo. That's all politics. Had you been had from Dragon 60 in, who shows up every couple years in my campaign, just to mess with him, and he was holy water sprinkling his own urine on them as a joke, and he did it on to bless them. It's kind of dumb stuff because he's character neutral, doesn't care. He's 20th level, but he's the head of Spunk. Well, politics-wise, there's 2 thieves guilds in Altamira right now fighting it out. So that's going on behind the scenes, and
got a Grey War.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
You didn't have the other 2 show up? I didn't know. I didn't see.
Oh, they were there. Yeah, he went to the Lubin and Sam were there the whole time, just watching them go. And then he went to the bar. He went to the table and started drinking with them. Yeah, they were there. They were just hanging out. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. You've been had, man. You've been had. What a great character.
That's a good way to get robbed, to go to that table.
Yeah, and when one character said, "I'm going to grab him by his neck," I'm like, "Oh, oh my god."
Don't do that.
With a girl of Storm Giant strength and yeah. So, but that was fun, and that's just the There's politics in Greyhawk, there's City, there's Hardby, wherever you're playing. Shieldlands, the politics is huge in Greyhawk. It's huge.
I'd say the key for the politic part of it is using your guilds. So your guilds are going to curry influence with the nobles. So the nobles are going to be in with one or more guilds, or have family members or distant family members in there, and it's going to influence the decision making of the of the nobility, and it or be a thorn in their side, one way or the other. And the same would be true of magical guilds or magical schools or magical.
Good point, Tim.
And that'll influence.
That's a great.
Why is the noble one asking your party to go take care of something? He might tell you, they're evil child sacrificing demon worshippers, when really they're a rival guild for his cousin's guild, and he just wants them taken out. So you become doing the wet work for this guy, and he's lied to you.
Yeah.
So
you're the pawns, and that's another good point. Going back to the Mage discussion, you should have somewhere could be one. You should have a guild of magic users somewhere for spell research, because how do I do spell research is always a big question that comes up, no matter what edition you're playing. You need to set, whether it's Greyhawk or whether it's, whatever, Waterdeep if you're playing Forgotten Realms, whatever. We have Altamir.
You have, and you should have some sort of rules or guidelines for it. So when your player who plays a wizard or priest of some sort, or druid or whatever, they say that I've come up with this cool spell idea. Then you have to have some sort of guidelines and directions for how to go about doing that, both from a pure mechanical standpoint, but also from an in-game thing, meaning how can a character figure it out, so to speak? Or can they, if they see a spell that is kind of weird and never seen, how difficult would it be for that character to replicate the spell, and so on? And what spells can they learn? If you're a bard, can you learn Fireball? Can you learn Lightning Bolt or not, so to speak? These are, you have to, as a DM, you have to start thinking about what limitations are they hard-coded, say you can only learn the spells that are in the bard list, period, and that's it, so to speak. Or do you have other, I used limitations saying bards can learn from these schools up to so-and-so level, and from other schools up to whatever level, like divination, no limits, and illusions, no limits, but necromancy, strict, and healing and stuff like that. So
I wanted to add on to this too. Like if you decide as a DM, you don't want them to change the rules, but you don't want to just do a no, just no. You could say no, it violates the guild magic agreement by the guild masters between what they're allowed to do, and they've agreed to not do. So then if you do it, now you're pissing off both of them.
That's a great way of handling it in game.
And you don't have to make it where it's no, just no. It's like, well, there's a problem.
Yeah, you become a rogue kind of out there away from the,
No, just no exists.
Throwing wrenches today.
Yeah.
No, just no exists because you're right in the middle of gameplay and you got to make a split-second decision. And you want to keep the game moving.
Well, but and also don't make it so they can just instantly learn something. Say that, okay, you will try to learn that, then you keep it, and then you say that that's an activity you will keep doing until your next level, and that
let them invest heavily. Let them invest heavily in it first, and then have them find out you're not allowed to do that.
Yep. and go on a quest to learn it and acquire the knowledge and stuff. Yep. So
I think I prefer Jay's way, that we do it just because we've been here 40 years. And it's more of a role play question and a time sort of available question.
Yeah, well, once again, my games evolve based on what my players are comfortable with, and my players are not minutia players like a lot of, and this is no slam on anyone. They don't get down into the weeds like a lot of 5e players do. Down into the and talking about they get eating breakfast. That's not the way our style is.
Our deep RP is not what you do.
No, it's not, but that's okay. And that's I stream. We're not theatrical at all. There is role play, but we're not theatrical. I stream me playing with my friends. When I Saturday night specials, I stream the game, and there's a lot of interaction between characters, but it's not. It's more about the game and the storyline and the combat and all, and that's okay. Everyone's different, so yeah. Hey, Stiletto, good to see you. Hopefully you're feeling better. I know you were a little under the weather. So,
and it's also both what edition and what role you want mechanics and stuff to play in your campaign stuff. Meaning you can simply hard code it if your game is you deep into mechanics and stuff, then it's easy. You set up these are the rules and so on. And if you're into RP and stuff, then you can kind of divert more to the in-game solution, and kind of like Tim said, you can kind of limit it more in-game. It's not a hardcore rule limit. It's more like there will be consequences if you go down that rabbit hole, so to speak. If you want to summon those demons, then damn, you will be in trouble, so to speak. So yeah, and that's the other thing. When it comes to a lot of spells, I have hidden aspects of magic that I don't tell characters, only when they get really, and the players when they get high levels. So when you use magic, you cast it changes. Meaning, if you cast detect magic, that means that you can see things from a distance. You can see and feel when when spells are being cast. So you can feel it from a mile away. Cantrips can only be felt where you can be seen really close, but 9th level spells someone who is very attuned, like Ayus and demigods and whatever, they can sense it as many miles away as your spell level. So they can sense, if you cast a 9th level spell, they can sniff it 10 miles in a radius around. So you're basically lighting up a forge. If you open a gate or do some 9th level spell inside the land of Ayus in his empire, he will most likely figure that out fairly quickly. If there's an Ayusian priest within that range, they will sense it, so to speak, and come after and wonder what the hell is going on here in my backyard. So yeah,
that sort of fear is why when Jay and I were playing a solo adventure and I had an 18th level wizard, he was using cantrips because he was afraid of signaling big bad stuff.
No,
but you can also
let's tell it. Oh, I'm sorry, Anna. Go ahead.
No, please. I will say that you can also use it the other way around. Your high-level wizard in the party can also stand and use detect magic and arcane and spell and effect and listen in, so to speak, in the vibe of things to see if there's things being cast in the vicinity. So yeah.
So, and Anna helped me with this heraldry, and hit one of his lackeys, Sir Vargren the Unmerciful, now from Mike Disney playing him. But there's a legendary story of Lord Page.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Yes.
Is this what you were gonna say?
Yeah. So yeah, tell you can tell a story from your Ski's perspective, because this is some things you just
of the first time he actually met Lord Page.
Yeah. Well, you're snooping around in his bedroom.
Right. So I was using shape change, right?
Invisibly.
Yeah, I had shape changed into a pixie.
Yeah.
So that I was naturally invisible. And I was scoping out the castle. And he happened to walk in, and I'm like in a corner. And Jay says, and Lord Pig goes, "Oh, another wizard." And he came swinging at me.
There you go.
I forget how I am scrayed, but it was really.
You used a limited wish spell.
I was there was also a time I was caught in a force cage.
No, that's when you used limited wish. Yeah, the force cage.
Yeah. I used limited wish, but I think I just teleported with Lord Page. I think I teleported. I was like, no.
Well, he did hit you with his final word sword a couple times.
Yes, and I was like, bye, because I was only snooping.
Snooping around his bedroom. Yes. So
well, I'm married to his ex-wife.
Yes, his character married his ex-wife. Yes, there's more politics there.
See, there you go.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And we all remember Skeeve's kids. And Annie, you remember this? He had the band on the beach. Remember that one? And he put the band. They all had red shirts on, and they got fireballed. All the band got killed.
That was the name of the band. That was the name of the band. The red shirts.
Yeah. Yep. The fun times we all have when you play amongst friends.
Yeah, the band.
I knew Jay was going to kill him eventually.
Yeah, long time ago, and that's the fun. I mean, we are all nerds at heart, going way back. It's been a long time, and like I said, the 42. Starting year 42 next year, so
we have to go over those taverns again in the Highport. Although we'll have to update some of the names.
Yeah, we can't. Some of the names we can't use. They would not. Well, they would be insta bans. I'd be off Twitch.
We can't use them as
30 years, 3.5 years of getting to this point of partner would be all shot to hell by just some of the names of the bars we had in Highport. So we cannot do that. Was it weird for anyone to hear Tim say, "I was shape-changing into a pixie"? Well, his character, Skeeve, and, his original, he took that name right from the myth books. Yeah. So if you read the Mythic Link and, all those books, they're really good.
Skeeve, it was the wizard. He shape-changed.
Yeah, Robert Ashburn books.
Right. So he could fly different places, and I wanted to be able to move a certain way. And so a pixie was one of those basic, characters, things that are automatically invisible. So that was a great choice, for 18th level wizard to change into.
Isn't it spelled AAHZ, Oz? AAHZ, isn't it? For Oz?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was from the dimension of Perv.
The perverts.
Technically pervects.
Oh, pervex, yeah.
But everyone else calls them perverts.
Very cool. It was,
They don't
and
like
that's Robert Ashburn, writing his books. His Fool's Company books were fun too. Had a BattleTech feel to them a little bit. So, but does anyone have any other questions out there about spellcasters and some things you want assistance with or ideas? If not,
Are we
we're
just talking
almost
about
to our 2
custom, or are
hours.
we talking about custom spellcasters?
Yeah.
I'm working on aside from finalizing the Sea Mage.
Sea Mage, yep.
I'm working on a Fultian magic user school of magic where it's
really Fultans.
related. So it's not going to be the elemental. It's not an elementalist. It's of course it's going to be radiant and have a lot of that lights involved in it, but it's going to be like you figure somebody as strict as them would have their own school of magic anyway. To control it anyway.
I'm interested to see that. I mean, that sounds pretty interesting.
So, working on that. I was working on a couple other, the alpha, but the alpha would be more of a college than like a whole separate type of class.
Yeah, that would be like that would be a legendary. Yeah. So I was considering making Alpha one of the Greyhawk mages, but technically no one knows who he is, so it didn't make any sense.
It's good to, I think, put him out in one of the other more remote places, and he has a college there, so
Yeah, it's a great idea, and that's the thing. Take the knowledge, Great Net spell books, all these books, the Relic and Rituals books. I recommend highly. Get them. These two especially, and if you can find the Excalibur and the Olympus ones, get them too. Right, they're 3rd edition. They're really good. Get those. Because they have a ton of spells. They have tattoo magic in them, which is fun. They have ritual magic in there. I know Anna's big on ritual magic. Multiple casters. Yep. They're in that book too. And whatever edition you're using, there's stuff. If you're using 5th edition, I guarantee you find some great spells to convert.
And Cobalt Press have Tome of Magic.
Yes.
And stuff that is really cool. That has various types of magic for 5e that you can kind of expand your way you cast spells and stuff and use magic.
Yeah, I'm working on a I took this from somebody had done up a book on additional spells. It was like I don't know if it was between 2nd or 3rd edition or whatever, but they had Order of the Arrow in there. And they kind of related it to Melf, and so they have some spells that are specifically kind of archery related. Obviously the tensors thing would fit in right to that sort of thing. So I've been messing with that a little bit.
Archer is a Mage class in 3rd edition and derivative.
But in my game, they went to Specialty Priest of Sol and Earth Elandera, the Elven god of archery. That's where those spells went.
Yep.
So, and that's the thing. You may put them in different areas. See, I took them clerical. You may take a mage.
That's why I have the Arcane Archer. I would make the
so nasty
Specialty Priest of various
throwing those fireballs
days like that
will
be kind of super. Yeah, that was awesome fun.
That was a disgusting class. I love and Neverwinter Nights. I love playing that Arcane Archer.
Arcane Archer was the best I played in Pathfinder organized play. It was so much fun. And then they actually introduced in Pathfinder a hybrid class that was really the Blood Rager. It was a hybrid between the sorcerer and an archer.
Wow.
And it was barbarian and a sorcerer.
Oh, barbarian and sorcerer.
Yeah, barbarian and sorcerer. And that was a class. So when you had that class, you didn't have to multi-class. That class in itself was enough that when you leveled up to like 5th level, you could become an arcane archer as well.
Wasn't Magus a fighter and a mage together, kind of?
No, it's barbarian sorcerer.
Yeah, okay. I was talking about. Yeah. I know because I played Pathfinder Kingmaker in the half orc, and there's a Magus.
Magus is a fighter mage. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Blood Rager is a barbarian sorcerer.
Interesting.
In one class, and you can combine rage with your spells, and then you do that, and you have ranged as well. And she was brutal. That was an awesome character. So that was a really cool combination. So now I know that when I run into nomads, so stuff like that, that should be a shaman in my tribe. Should be a Blood Rager type, so to speak. So I want to.
I found a document. It was the Book of Manos. It's like handy spells by James Mishler and Jody Moran Mishler for a Labyrinth Lord compatible product.
Mhm.
And it has a number of hand related spells, as you would expect, Manos, And I know for my game with my son-in-law, I'm going to have that as in there. It has some really interesting ones and some very unpleasant gauntlet and hand related type artifacts or magic items and robes that can go along with it. So that's worth kind of looking into if you want to add something surprising.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're good on questions. Sit tight for some shout outs because we already have dates on a lot of stuff coming on up after the new year, which is really cool. Got some stuff set there. So Commissioner's Bigwood Judges Guild new material. Well, awesome. Well, we had Zach Glazer on. Do they have the rights to Judges Guild? Who's got Judges Guild rights right now?
I'm not sure.
Is it Frog God or is Judges Guild on their own? I'm not sure. So maybe Jason knows. So just note, wanted to show you a little tricks of things for how I created my Elementalists, my thought process behind them. They are a favored class of my players. They can be very powerful. They do have drawbacks, and just like any class, they tend to be targets of archers, and anyone sees elementals out in the field, they're trying to take them down because they're so nasty. So it had been. Is it Goodman? Okay, it could be Goodman there, Jason. Yeah, you're probably right on that.
Oh yeah.
But note that I'm not sure what we're gonna. Well, I gotta figure out if I'm having Gabbin next Sunday or not. Yeah, it's a TBD.
Yeah, you have to. I don't even know what time would that be in during Christmas and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
well, Christmas is Saturday.
After, right?
Yeah, it's the day after. I'm like 50-50 on that right now. So.
Yeah, it's
you like that? Yeah.
Boxing Day. You don't use Boxing Day in England, do you?
In the U.S.
Oh, sorry, in the U.S.
Only to watch English Premier League soccer, which is on all day.
There you go.
Day after. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, because in Sweden we have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then we have the third. So there's a whole bunch of names of the days because people have like 3-4 days off. Yeah.
So hopefully you got something out of this discussion. Thank you for hanging in there and listening, and we always you can ask me questions. I don't like giving out all my stuff, but if you want to take a look at one, you go, hey, I'm interested in what you did, how you did something. I would be more than happy to help you. I know Valmoku has reached out, and I've helped him and a couple other people to create. And then from there, you run with it and you create your own classes. I think Valmoku created a Theurge, which is like a cleric mage mix. Which is cool. So I'm glad to see that. So. Boxing Day is a British thing.
Thank you, David. Yep.
Yeah, I know the day after it's all day soccer, all day
Boxing
long.
Day.
So.
That was an awesome explanation too.
Good to see you, Palace. Awesome. All right, so let's see what's going on, and we'll have. I don't have banners for everything up yet, but I got some of them. So. Tim, we'll just start with Anna because Tim and ours will be interlinked a little bit here. So
okay, yeah. So I can say I'm working really hard to get a preview of the upcoming 2022 edition of the map, including Hypnonaland. And there will hopefully be one in like Tuesday or something. I think that will be one for my patrons. I hope that in just a few days there will be a new one with a whole bunch of corrections. And I haven't got into a lot of the new stuff on Hypnonaland yet because I need to do a couple of more days of reading through. I have a list of all the sources, so I'm going to read them through one more time and take notes before I dig into that. But I've done a ton of terrain changes and additions and stuff. And the terrain is like 95 to 98% done. So that's the major when it comes to time wise. So that one is really, really looking good now. And it's been touched up in numerous places. And there is a long list of changes. And now I'm starting to dig through my 320 or so notes. I've done like 30, I think. And I'm taking them off, so hopefully tomorrow I can do another 50 or so. Or at least a bunch. Some of them are very simple. It's just a few changes. Some of them are 6 hours of digging through various sources and asking various other people to how to do the things. So that is, but it is coming, and it's coming along, so to speak. So it's a little bit late because I had to both Gryffindor Games and Kobold Press have things that was supposed to have been done months ago, but for various reasons the project got delayed, and now I was hit at the end of the year to finish them. So that have taken a week or 10 days away from it, but almost all of that is done now. So I have a few hours of work for Kobold Press before that is done. So it's coming. There will be no more heraldry this year, I think. So I will concentrate on getting Hypnona Land and the new Greyhawk map out. That will be the majority of it. And then write a blog post about ideas and things for next year and what I'm working on and stuff. And yeah, so that will come probably between Christmas and New Year's. That's why we'll have a little bit of, yeah.
I hate to tell Anna this, but I'm going to grab her for an hour or two one day this week, hopefully, and get some more of my heraldry done.
Yes, exactly. We will see about that. So yeah, and I also have Gary Julian and I have a special update project for some heraldry too. So
awesome.
So we'll see what come out of that too.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
That's basically what's going on, and I'm also doing a ton of campaign material, but that will be in back burner for just for now.
And Imri did very, very well Thursday night, as everyone saw in the Adventure with Skarn, in the supply run. Yeah, Tim played as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Note the following, and if you have a lot of dwarves and a dual wield, two-fisted fighting ranger in your party, that means doom
giants.
For that's bad for giants of any type, because they can't hit anything for the most part, and they're going to get whomped on. But it was fun. It was a great one-nighter, and last night it was fun too. I had a real blast with that group, and
those dwarven armorers who made their armor earned their money.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah.
And Anna's always, what a great discussion tonight and input. Thank you so very much. I should have.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope I didn't distract.
No, this was great. This is a great discussion. Please, if you haven't Patreon, Anna, that's one of the three Patreons I do. Get Anna up there so she can dedicate. The more Patreon she has, the more time she dedicates to Greyhawk.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that is a great thing. Best $5 a month you can spend easily. So Tim, what's up, man?
Well, the next thing we got going on is a return to the Barrens for the underdogs.
Oh. Yes, I need to do a banner for it, and I apologize I haven't.
We're going to experience Wilderness of Pain 2. The question is Red Fist alive? Did the ice sprites keep him alive? He was the barbarian that Blue Box RPG John played and got charmed and killed another player character and then ran off with the ever attractive ice sprite. So is he still alive? And if he's alive, what are they going to do if they find him?
Who's Alex? Who's Antiquitous playing this time? Now his character got slaughtered.
To be determined.
Oh, you guys haven't determined that yet.
No, that's happening soon though.
Yeah.
But I'm not telling.
Okay. Awesome. Oh, you're not letting him pick his own character?
No, he can pick it. I'm not telling you guys or anybody else.
Right. So no, the underdogs. It will be Saturday, January 8th. So not too far out.
January 8th, 9 a.m.
9 a.m. So
does that work?
Yeah. Chuck Cubbo just dinged me. So.
Oh, okay.
Live now. I'm just putting him in there.
Chuck did?
Yeah.
He should be there. Unless he has some excuse.
We'll get Chuck involved. Yeah. And Chuck, please. Here we go again. Here we go again.
Yep.
So
his character is like 90% done.
Oh, good. That's good to hear. So awesome. It looks like he's making cookies or something. He's baking. He's showing me pictures of his baking. Controller games. Yep. With 32 giveaways between them and Frog Guide on Friday night's show, they've earned a relaxation for us for a bit here.
Yep.
So note that Tim. We don't have any other between now and Christmas. We have no other actual RP game set. There's no Thursday night game this week.
I'm going to aim to get one or two more underdogs before the next dark
New underdogs?
Huh?
New underdogs?
No. Adventures in
okay.
before the next dark hand, and then I may catch their timelines up because the underdogs are still earlier than the first dark hand event.
Right, then the higher levels. Well, that would make sense.
Yeah.
That would make total sense.
There's going to be more and more overlap as their timelines get closer.
Josh, you...
and I'm going to feature a cameo. I'll tell the cameos ahead of time. I'm going to feature cameos of Carlos's character Walks with Ghosts in the next game.
Okay.
And a cameo of Anna's character.
Great. There's nothing better than cameos.
They're going to be passing through, and of course, all these underdogs are going to be, just in awe of all these heroes and whatsoever. So,
well, she's not always a hero. She was pushed off the ledge.
No, but they don't know. They don't know. They're the underdogs.
That's true. They don't know that.
Yeah, barely survive.
Yep.
So look forward to that, and don't look forward to it too fast. I want to enjoy my time off. I don't go back to real work or life work till January 4th. I was off 3 days last week, and I'm not working. I just want to do some things. I got to let some honeydew stuff, but we'll get that all taken care of. Tim, thanks for hopping on again. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, so this is what's going on. So we do have a stream Wednesday night. Okay, we have a Legends and Lore. Myself, Anna, and Greyhawk Mike Bridges. Let me switch screens here so I can put up any banners that I have. Oops, see, I hit a wrong button.
I'm going to jump out here.
Go for it, Tim.
Okay.
We'll see you soon.
Seeing you again.
Have a good one, dude. Thank you.
See you.
The ever mysterious Tim, everyone.
Yep.
Whew. There we go. 131. Thank you for the follow, Dark Lord Darcy. Thank you. So, Rogues and Bargs of Greyhawk. Mike set up a list of all sorts of stuff that he thought we should talk about. Hey, Phoenixy, good to see you, man. I'm so happy all the how much you raised. That was really, really fantastic. Kudos to you for doing that for Kentucky. This Wednesday, this will be probably my last stream before Christmas. Because we're not going to have anything on Thursday night. Everyone's doing stuff. It's the night before New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. Got a lot of stuff going on here, so no problem. Anything I could do, man. Sorry I couldn't be on that stream because I had the fantasy mapping show at the exact same time. So
yeah, we hogged him. So we kind of took him on and we didn't let him go. Yep.
It was a fun stream. I was glad we could raid into you and catch the end of yours though that night. Yep. So this will be a great discussion. We're going to talk about specifics in here. I'm looking forward to it. Haven't prepped for it yet, but I got.
No, but Rogues is kind of a Greyhawk speciality. Yep. Think about Gord and stuff. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Thieves Guild.
Absolutely.
And all that.
We may have to. Well, I think we may have to invite Jason on too. Jason, if you're still there. I think Jason, are you there? I think we'll have Jason come on that.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, because he knows so much about Gord now and is up to date with the Gord books. So yeah.
That would be excellent. So no game on Thursday night. Taking a week off. The week between Christmas and New Year's, I'm not sure yet either. But I'm going to be doing something myself, whether it's a BattleTech one-shot or something.
We haven't decided if we want to have a Legends and Lore on that week. I think I'm available, but we have to see about that. Yeah.
Exactly.
We will know that on Wednesday. We will know if we have one the Wednesday after or not.
Right. I think we'll get to that point and we'll make that decision.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So next week's Gabbin is up in the air to be determined. We'll figure it out. I'm just putting TBD down. I'm putting it on. If my family's exhausted from everything running around and all, I may have it. I'm not going to do the year in review. I'm going to do the year in review. I think the Sunday after, and I do one every year. I think for year, and we have, of course, a lot to discuss for 2021. But I think I'm going to do it the Sunday after. So I'm not sure if that's going to be episode 131 or 132, or I'm sorry, 130, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Who knows? This I'm sorry, 176 or one. This is 177. I'm babbling now. I apologize. Yeah. So it's a TBD on this. So we're not sure. Figure that out. The definite next stream we have is Wednesday. But what's coming up in January? Tim already talked about something on the 8th. Well, I just finalized Ed Greenwood, Tony Winslow Brill, Eric Boyd, Eric Mengi, Anna, and a couple others maybe. Ed's group. 2 drink minimum.
Yeah, I'm looking at the eyes have it. That's
the name of the adventure, Anna.
Scary. Scary.
Yes, the eyes have it. So, I mean, it's such an honor to say Ed Greenwood plays a Greyhawk Mage in my game. So, yes, I'm excited. And we saw from last night, 2 drink minimum is way down in the Mercenary Guild rankings in Greyhawk. I'm sorry, in Altamira. So there they are. They're 3 from the bottom.
How can we fall from grace is that bad?
Well, that's you got to earn your way up the ladder.
I know. I'm just kidding. we would never be high up yet, so we can't fall. We haven't.
Yes.
Yet.
I mean, look, the fighters of the light in Altamira are ahead of you. That's kind of scary. And then these are all player character groups. Theo's Heroes Reborn, Omega Patrol, terrible name. Huntsman, Night Stalkers, they're all York Defenders are all
2 drinks minimum is the best name ever.
It is. The Slav Squad's on there too.
Yeah.
So from last night, so they made it. So that is on the 15th. And the other happy thing I want to say is 2 weeks after that, hopefully I programmed this in, I think. Please, did I program this in?
He kind of came up with the eyes have it. It's Rose Estes.
Yeah. Is it really a Rose Estes book, or are you saying it should be a Rose Estes book? I did not know that.
The eyes have it. Yep.
So.
It's awesome.
Last night, everyone had a wonderful time, and all said, when are we playing again? And I said, well, let's set a date. And I was on Discord on and off all day, and I got confirmation from, I think, everyone already. The Slav Squad returns on January 29th, 2 weeks after the Ed Greenwood game. Same time, 6 o'clock. So Little Bones. Darling will be back because she missed this last one. Rosie was saved. We have Myriad's coming back. The Mandy, Josh, Zarathon, and MJ Russell, and there may be one other person too as well. And that's already set. So we got 2 special events with the 15th and the 29th of January already set, and Tim's on the 8th. So we got a lot going on. Yes, it is a Rose Estes book. Oh, well, There you go. I did not know that.
I have it up here. Hang
on my. I'll have to change the name now. The adventure.
Yeah, I have to.
I'll change the name
somewhere.
now. Yes, you forced me. So let's you own that book, Rob. Now I feel like crap. I swear to God, I didn't know that.
It's here somewhere, but that was Master Wolf. That was the other one. Let's see here. It is somewhere in the.
That's a good one, Tim, because you had that ICU where you
name of the game.
You nailed the eyeball to the wall, to the door that one time. I have my eye. Man. No, it wasn't ICU. It was I have my eye on you, Tim. Yes. All right. So we're going to do the giveaways. Last call.
Oh, let's see here. Price of Power. Where the heck did you have that many?
Has a purple binding. All right. 2 choices.
I can't find it.
First winner, Sages and Specialists, I'm assuming, because it's such a rare reprint. And Treasures of Greyhawk is the second one. We'll do 2.
I'll try to find it.
So I'll have to get that and another 3 or 4 from last night. And then just note, all the Frog God, I got the gift certificates out that I had, but so I have to give out. We had 32 giveaways. 4 of them have been given out. There's 28 to go. I haven't gotten codes yet from Troll Lord. And I got to get all the addresses for Frog God because they're direct shipping them. I'll be compiling that tomorrow and getting that to Zach tomorrow as quickly as possible. So just note everything will be going out. Just give me a little time on that, please. All right, last call for the signups. We're going to be closing them out. And Phoenixy, thank you for the very kind words you said earlier. I really appreciate that. This community steps up all the time, and we will have. I haven't started the schedule yet, but we will be working on our fundraiser for St. Jude for 2022. It'll either be in February or I may push it to April after GaryCon. Just depends on how things fall and how coordinated we can all get with. It was 2 full days of streams, so it's a lot to coordinate, but I haven't even come up with an idea yet. I got the whole vacation to start thinking. Last year we did Underdark Uprising. I'll think about what we're going to do this year and come up with some ideas. I did not know Phil Dick though is great, man. Blade Runner is Phil Dick, and also the Unteleported Man, one of my favorite books, sci-fi books, is Phil Dick as well. All right, closing it out. Here we go for the winners. So in all these streams, I don't know, 5 days of streams, I really didn't have a crash. I mean, I had some hit wrong buttons, but no crashes.
Yeah, but exactly, it's been stable.
The wonders of having great bandwidth as a partner. There you go, everyone. So, jinx, yes, Mitch, you're right. Yeah, absolute jinx right there.
Yep.
I probably did. I probably jinxed myself. So, ready? The winner, first choice. My guess is you'll take this book here.
That's a sure one. You should take that one.
Big Mac.
Oh,
is he on to claim it?
That's a D&D reprint. Yeah.
It's a reprint. I may send him a gift certificate because it's going to take me 3 times the cost of this to send over. So I may gift certificate him. So, all right. So
let's look at that again here.
You have it, Antiquus? What? Yeah, I'm going to gift certificate Mac. It'll make my life a lot easier. Mac may be lurking, and the second winner. So the second winner may get this. We'll do 2. Rob.
It's actually an original.
Phantom again.
Yeah, this is not a reprint.
I have the original too. All right, Rob. So you get this book, The Sages and Specialists. I'll hold this to another time, and I'll get with Mac, and I'll gift certificate him to the UK. It'll make life a lot easier. So, well, I know I have your address, Rob. So no problems. Awesome. All right, please sit tight. We're gonna raid into this initiative order. Up and coming stream, Stiletto Assassin's part of the group there, and please give them a follow when you get there. And Anna and Tim, thanks for a great show tonight. Thank you all. I know Darling's on. Darling's just chatting though, and this is a group with that has a that's playing. So we're gonna go in. We're spread the love around. It's always good to do that. So thank you though for the suggestion. See you all Wednesday night, and please, hopefully, stay safe during the holidays. Have fun with your friends and family, and we'll be in limited streaming, no more than 2. I think this whole week coming up, but I got 5 out of 5 done here.
Yeah, I might do some test streams. We'll see.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm busy with all the other stuff, but I definitely need to start doing some.
Oh, one last thing. The Greyhawk Creative stream team is still going strong. Our Min and the Mandy have joined it, so I think we got 13 now. All right, so we're adding in streamers so that you always one-stop shop. Click that button. Bookmark it, and you can see which of your Greyhawk streamers or creatives or crafters are on at the time. One of the wonders of me being able to do that. And thank you, Rich. Rich is late. A little late there, Rich. We're done. Rich pulled a Casey in reverse.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, so Ring of Bureaucratic Wizardry. I've never heard of it.
Oh,
is that from a special? I've never heard of that.
Sounds like something cool. Pale or something. Yep.
Yeah, that sounds like a cool thing.
Pale or something. Yeah.
Happy holidays to everyone. Thank you Thank you, Curtis. We'll see you all soon. And Jay's gonna hit a wrong button here. Let's raid into initiative order. Nah, Rich. Just literally, you were late. When you snooze, you lose. Setting up the raid. Love to get a large quantity of persons over to there. That would be awesome. Hang out, say hi, give them a follow. Okay, awesome. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll see you Wednesday night. Sure this just worked.
Seems like it. Yeah. Chat popped over, so
Just sit this here, so I can hear what's going on here. Well, I hit the turtle.